Okay, so here's your Zoom. So I always put it on this.
Oh. Actually, no, I remember this one.
Hey Zach, how are you this morning?
Good. I pulled a muscle yesterday, so I'm here icing it.
Ouch.
It's all good.
We start at 7.
How are you guys?
Good, at 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So now.
And, yeah,
Okay.
you're free to wait. Oh, there's Anthony. Oh, I forgot about Anthony.
Don't forget that. I should probably, I thought. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Who's in class today?
Tammy's the only one here right now.
Oh, okay.
Melissa will be here shortly. She's dropping kids off.
Don't have those yet.
Huh?
I don't have those yet.
Take your time, trust me.
Yeah, I'm not interested right now. I'm just learning how to take care of myself.
Right?
Oh man.
Oh. I have 2 teenagers. Whew.
2?
2,
What are their ages?
14 and 17.
Oh, like the worst time too. Like the one. Do they have attitudes yet?
Oh, you have no idea, Zach. That's why I come to work every day.
You know what? I think I would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, there is no way I would take a remote job and have to be at home with them all day, every day.
Sometimes I look back to when I was like that age and I'm like, man, I really put my parents through the ringer.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yep, I look back sometimes and have those very same thoughts. I was a horrible teenager, so I
Yeah.
guess this is just payback.
No, it very well may be.
Hey Anthony, how are you this morning? Oh, Anthony can't talk to us. Where's everybody this morning?
I don't know. They just don't want to.
Hey, David's here.
One more body.
One more body. So,
Where's the chair?
Tammy, you can, I don't remember which one you said you were starting with, but you can share your screen here. Oh, there's Nick Connolly. You can share your screen. Or not, because I mean, they can follow along on their
Yeah, that's not
devices if
bad,
they want,
probably, then I
but
don't
so
have to change it.
whatever you
No.
want to do.
And we have to be done at 11:30, right?
11:30. All right. Hey, are you guys coming to Smudra today? Hi, Nick.
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
So all your slides, all of your presentations are up. Okay. And they all know how to access the material. And text me if you need anything or yell down the hallway, whatever.
Hey, just
Hi,
making-
Lisa.
Just making sure. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome.
Who's talking?
I am Tammy. You're not able to see me, right?
Oh no. Oh, bummer.
It's okay. Let me see if I can play with this just a second. I'm not used. She's got like all these multiple screens going on and I'm like allergic to technology right now. So let me see what I can do. The video is playing, but yeah, it's because the slides are up. Can you see the slide? Oh, I see. It's because the camera's on. Hi,
Hey.
there we are, right? Good morning. I'm Tammy. I'm Tammy Horner. I am a part of your ALC board. I'm on the reserve board. Welcome to this morning. We're gonna really focus on and continue lead generation this morning. I did not have an opportunity to flip through this too much before we got started. And so I'll be really leaning on my guide this morning, such as real estate life, right? Family life, mom life, life, which you all are probably gonna take a few years to adjust to if you haven't been doing this a lot already, right? Is everybody here new agents? New agents, everybody's brand new.
Newish.
Okay, so I'm on my 3rd year. I'm hitting 3 years in January. And I can tell you this has been the most difficult and the most adventurous and fun thing that I have done in my life. I was a coach. I've owned my own business as a coach for almost 10 years before this. So I've owned a business before, but before that I did come from corporate. And so I have that really fun experience underneath my belt to contrast. But I've had my own business for long enough to know that you have to work your tail off to make this work and do things that are really uncomfortable. And that's what we're going to focus on today. And I know you guys have already gotten a spiel from each of the teachers before us. Everybody's so good, Gwen and Ricky. And they have so much to offer, right? And so all of us get to kind of bring our experiences and our perspectives to the table, and you take away what's relevant for you and how well it works for you. We're gonna start with open houses this morning. Using open houses to capture leads for lead generation.
Hey, Nick, excuse me. Is there any way you can mute yourself, man? Because like all I hear is the road over Tammy. Thanks, man.
Let's see if I can figure out how to change pages on this. Slides, sorry guys. Okay, so you've gone through this one already, right? The real estate expert. And you started in lead generation, generating your leads and growing your database. Did you do that with Gwen last week? How many of you have applied some of the things that you've been learning already? Anybody? Good. What's the result of that application?
The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And I mean, you definitely fail over and over, but with 10 fails, there's always one yes. So consistency, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And once you start applying it, you gain confidence, you gain comfort. The language, it's like learning a new language when you start, especially with sales. If you've never been in sales before, it's like, I don't talk like that. I don't ask people those questions. You know, even leading with questions, if you're generally somebody who just walks around and tells everybody how it is, right? When you start asking questions, it's like, slow down and think before I move in that direction. And so it's good to keep going, because the more you keep applying this, that's where the success lies. All of these systems, you don't have to do them all, and it feels like a fire hose for a little bit, that's okay. Filter and assimilate, put to work what feels right for you. So open houses, this is where we're going to dig into here. Today, as part of open houses, we're going to talk about best practices, preparing, prospecting, and pursuing. We'll recap and we'll talk about your daily system, success system. Has anybody in here held an open house yet? Have you? Yeah. And how was, sure, how was that?
It was good. I mean, it was in my Arizona brokerage.
Okay.
And so I had my 2 teammates with me, and it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot from those ladies.
That's awesome. So you're not completely brand new.
No, I've been doing it for about a year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Okay. Well, good experience. Who else?
I have.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I actually just held one on Monday afternoon. To be honest, I was quite hesitant because I've heard from other brokers that, like, I mean, during the middle of the week or the front part of the week, it's kind of rough. But I also, well, number one, I'm just trying to put myself out there and get like comfortable and used to, you know, holding an open house. But secondly, I was able to catch a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, 9 people came, but I should say that I was able to target like a group of people that were picking their children up after school that were just in the area. And like my next one will be on Saturday and it'll be in the like early afternoon, but I'm just trying to kind of learn and do it on my own so I can figure out what works, what doesn't. Maybe do different days of the week, maybe like a Wednesday. So yeah, but sorry for the runaround. I don't know. It was really interesting. I was very nervous and anxious leading up to it, and then, when 4 p.m. hit, it was just like, well, we're here. Let's just, let's full send, and we'll see what happens. And it was kind of relaxing, and it was cool to, I didn't talk to everybody, but I definitely talked to a decent amount of people, and it was just a really good experience for me.
That's awesome. How many people did you have come? Was it pretty busy?
So there were 6 couples and then 3 just individual people. So I thought that wasn't too bad.
I think that's fantastic. Nice job, especially in this market. It's been really slow, so that's really good. Great experience. Has anybody not held an open house and had a reason for it? Like, open houses don't work?
No, I'm just brand new.
Yeah, brand new.
Yeah, I'm brand new.
Welcome.
Brand new. So, but I would like to start shadowing, like, and Zach, if you're hearing me, like, the next time you do one, let me know. I'll come out and just watch how you do it, because that would be kind of cool for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, learn from the newbie. That's the way to go.
But still, I mean, sometimes you can though. I mean,
You can, I think you
yeah.
learn more failing forward together,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
than
True.
shadowing somebody who's been doing it a long time.
Yeah. So any help you would need or anything, like I said, let me know, because I have my days free. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also need a wingman just in case, something goes, SHIT goes down. So,
exactly. So like I said, I'm available. Just let me know, and that goes for anyone else too. I mean, totally.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So a lot of times people hesitate holding open houses for reasons. And those reasons are those preconceived notions.
Now, I do want to jump in with that, because I do have a good friend of mine who's a real estate agent. He's been doing this for a couple decades. He's down in the Springs.
Yeah.
And he's not a big fan of open houses.
Yeah.
And I've heard that's the only person and he's been in it and he does very well, but he is not a fan of open houses. But everyone else I've talked to loves themselves some open houses. And I think I would love an open house.
Mhm.
But just listening to him, it was just like, he's like the contrarian here. So
Yeah.
is there a
Does
reason?
it plant a seed?
What's
Did
that?
he give you reasons?
He said that that's not the best way. In his experience, he never picked up a lead in all the years of doing an open
So I'm
house.
gonna ask you to repeat that sentence again. In starting with,
Yeah.
in his
In
experience.
his experience, yeah.
Yeah,
So and that's what he said. He goes,
Right.
"This is me. I'm just telling you."
yes.
And so he was fair about it. He wasn't trying to.
Yeah, I think it's the coolest thing about real estate is I don't cold call and I don't knock on doors and my business is growing.
Okay.
Right? Then you have Ricky, who will pick up the phone in a heartbeat and call 30 people, right? Or Gwen, who will, knock on doors and, and everybody's doing fantastic. It's about finding your own rhythm and flow, your own talent, where you feel that your skills are best used, right? As long as, what do they say? The best lead generation is the lead generation you do, right? And so I think that is a thing to really highlight on. But some of the limiting beliefs include, and these are probably things that he's heard, that I've definitely heard, and I just felt from my own experience. I don't have a listing to hold open. When I first started, what's a way around not having a listing?
Use somebody else's.
Use somebody else's, exactly. If there's not one in the center, in the market center, the MLS is loaded with listings, and that's where I started, is calling other agents, sending messages and just saying, hey, this is beautiful, it's in my area. I would love to hold an open house, and people let me hold open houses at their listings and never met me. So that was fun. I don't have signs. What's the way around signs?
Borrow signs.
And we have some here. We've got extras stashed away somewhere, so borrow signs. What about not knowing the answers to questions that visitors might have? How would you prepare? What do you need to do to prepare so that you have answers Or if you don't have an answer, how do you respond?
So-
So we have scripts, right, that we can practice with and stuff like that. And then if you're in the heat of the moment and you honestly don't know, I think just honestly, that's a really great question. I want to make sure I got a good answer for you. So, let me take down your contact information, do some research, and I'll get back to you.
100%.
I think
Yeah.
people respond well to that rather than you fumbling around for some BS answer,
Yeah,
because they'll smell that,
for real. Yeah, people definitely have a good sense.
Yeah.
It's the same thing what she was talking about, just tell them, be honest.
Yeah.
Just be authentic and honest.
And it's easy to find out too,
Yeah.
so if it's a really slow open house, have your
Yeah.
computer with you or your phone if you're confident.
And I think the side note to that too is you're gonna get their contact information, which is, that's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Name
I
it.
did it
Right?
on purpose,
Yes.
right?
And sometimes it's okay to pretend you don't know something, so you can get their contact information,
Sure.
so you can get
It's
back
a
with
great way to, yes. Anybody else?
I was just gonna say, this might be a little redundant, but when you have free time to really spend time and educate yourself on things that you don't know, really you can use that in practice and theory and like your everyday life. But I feel like when you just have additional time laying around, it's important to educate yourself and learn things that you don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe like you write down questions that come across in open houses, and then when you get home you're all excited and giddy to find the answer. And so I'm a hands-on learner, so for me, when I repeat something over and over, it eventually sticks. Muscle memory. So
That's wonderful. I love that perspective. There's a lot of ways to prepare for an open house too. Typically, questions that people have in open house are about the house. They're about the neighborhood, about the local school or the nearby parks. And it is important to have a general understanding about what you're holding open, right? So being able to, something that I might do is print the MLS sheet, do a list report, which is like a market service provider that you can connect with, and they generate a report that's really automated with information about the community. We can have those on hand for people to pick up. I do sign-ins to capture my leads, and that's something we'll talk about more. What about not feeling safe at an open house? How, if you're going, I'm not gonna do them because anything can happen, and anything can happen, right? Well, how would you navigate that?
you can always bring somebody with you, just like we were talking, like Lisa and I were talking about this, and Dave and I, even like just a few minutes ago. I actually, to this point, I went down a dark path last night, and I was like, what if something happens to me at my next open house because of the area it's in? And I just kept thinking, when you live like your day to day, you're always put in situations and scenarios that may not feel, necessarily safe. And there is a bit of risk to this as well, but there are, you can download those like emergency apps. You can, this is silly, but learning in the real estate exam, keeping your phone completely charged so that you can reach out to somebody, whether it's speed dial, friend, family. I feel like I'm just running on sentences. I'm just going to mute myself.
No, I think it's wonderful.
I always have my husband text me like once an hour, like
Oh,
just
I
check
love
in.
that. Yeah,
If he doesn't hear from me, then,
and let people know where you are.
yeah, exactly.
Right, I'll like send a snapshot to him via text and just like, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm at, this is who I'm meeting, blah, 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 and I'm running all over the place, so you can just scroll, right? Yeah, partnerships, whether they're with another agent or a lender or somebody like that, are very, lenders, inspectors, people who might help bring value to a conversation or invite questions from people, and it helps build that trust relationship from that first meeting. They're great partners to have at an open house. So, it's really about, I think when we're looking at limiting beliefs, it's really about identifying what is the limiting belief, and then even talking it through with someone, right? Like, I really believe this. I hear so many people say, I don't do open houses because most people look online or they don't work, like I'm not generating leads. And I can tell you that I've had 2 homes of my own listings that I've held open, that I've sold specifically from attendees of an open house in the last 12 months. So they work. You just have to show up.
You can have these, I think we talked about this last Friday with knocking doors. You can have anything can limit your beliefs because this career field is so different in terms of getting out there.
Yes.
And for me, coming from higher education, where I didn't have to go out there other than open houses that we did, which is much different than this type of open house where parents are bringing their kids to the campus.
Sure.
I mean, you're there with everybody. But this is kind of like you're putting yourself out there, whether it's knocking doors. And I heard a lot of last week, a lot of people who haven't done that. I've done it, but not in real estate. I've done it in a different venue and, you're running for public office. And that was all new for me this summer. And I didn't know if I could do that up here because I've never done that before.
Yeah.
Once you start doing it, you're realizing this is not that bad. But all of the things that you have here, being safe, making sure you're going at right times, making sure it's daylight, making sure, for me, I'm not too worried, but I have my fiance, her daughter, I have some other female volunteers. I make sure they go in twos. I make sure it's during the day, it's bright, all that type of stuff. Those are things you have to kind of like keep in mind.
Yeah.
But like the feel safe doesn't really bother me even with open houses, me personally. But yeah, I mean, you can have all these, your mind can shut down and give you a million reasons not to.
Yeah.
And calling's another one because, well, what happens if people are mean to you? Well, they're mean to you.
Yeah.
That's what
You don't ever
happens.
have to talk to them again, right?
You never
Yeah.
have to
Hang up
talk
the
to
phone
them
and be
again.
done with it.
Yeah.
And at the first couple times, I mean, you do have to kind of brush that off. The first couple times of people getting mad at you at the door, you do have to brush that off a little bit. But then after a while, it's like, they didn't really hurt me. They didn't really,
I'm still here.
Yeah.
But did you die?
I mean, and then what happens with it, it becomes a good story.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I was saying, there was one time I was walking, I wasn't even going to this guy's neighborhood, I wasn't going to his house. And he found out what party I represent, he's like, keep walking.
Oh my.
I'm like, I'm not even going to your house. I'm like, so.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah. That there's a little bit of redundancy in these, which I appreciate, it keeps us on track, but I'm gonna skip those pieces. Who benefits from holding an open house? And in what way?
You, the agent, the buyers. Oh, you said in what way?
Yeah,
Well,
well,
you as an agent, I mean, it's building your book of business, so to speak, your network. I mean, when you hold open houses, you have a visitor sign-in sheet, and that basically brings in like free leads if you think about it.
Yes.
So you benefit there. Buyers, because they're looking for their next dream home or what fits their lifestyle or what they're going through at that moment. It benefits the seller because they're looking to take their, house and sell it and take it off the market. I mean, oh yeah, you have that right on the screen. Wow, I didn't even read that.
You're pretty good. Got it. Yeah. Anybody else want to add to that? Who benefits from this? It's definitely lead generation for agent. Information, education for buyer, right? Prospective clients for seller. It brings attention. I have other, of course, things are different now than they've been in the last couple of years, and I'm learning this market. My husband's a contractor, he's a GC, and we've been in the construction industry for 25 years, well, that we've been married. And I'll tell you, I know a lot about the down markets from a different perspective, right? And so my heart is with the people who are struggling right now, but I'll tell you, standing in an open house when it's so quiet is frustrating. But it's been interesting to note that even when listings are sitting, you can hold open house after open house after open house and still have curiosity rise and people come through. So there's at what cost? Your time and energy, right? At the minimum, you can definitely pour money into an open house if you want to, but you sure don't have to. So how does it benefit the neighbors?
Values go up, so does theirs.
Say that again?
If a sale happens and it's greater than their perceived value, it bumps their value.
Sure, absolutely it does. How else might it be valuable to a neighbor?
Increases their property value.
Okay, an open house. What if it's just an open house? How might an actual open house benefit? How
Brings
about,
more people within the community.
oh, sure, yeah, that can be a benefit. How about that it gives them a comparison factor? So this is one of the things that I've seen lately. I just want to see what she's done.
Yep.
Right?
The looky loos.
Yeah, and actually, you have an opportunity to establish a relationship with those people. Why are you looking? What are you looking to do? Right? Do you think you'll be selling in the next few years? You know, how can I be a resource to you? Right? So there's a lot of people that this benefits. Aside from capturing leads as an agent, you're also connecting with the neighborhood and the people in the community. You're placing your signs. Now, once you get established, I suggest getting signs with your name on them, even open house signs, and you get to place those all over the neighborhood, right? Because familiarity, the more people see your name, the more comfortable they're gonna be when you're knocking on their door or making that phone call or inviting them to an open house. And you as an agent get to practice real live, in the moment conversations with people, answering hard questions.
Yard signs, HOAs, be careful.
Yes, thank you. Actually, you know, when you hold an open house and it says here at the bottom, please make sure that you're paying attention to local jurisdictions. There are city rules, sometimes there's county rules, there's always HOA rules. And also our COVID. Pay attention to what the current rules are. I started when COVID started. And so we went in with masks and gloves and, you know, a whole jumpsuit, you know, Lysol in one hand and, you know, hand sanitizer in the other. And here, let me spray you first, sign here, okay, let me spray you again. No, just kidding. But it felt very odd, right?
Is there, on that note, is there like an easy resource for where we can like plug in the address and find out what the county's rules for signage and stuff are?
You can type in Google HOA rules and then the county.
Okay.
HOA rules, the city,
Okay,
and it will typically tie it together and pull it up. With the HOA, I suggest contacting them directly. Some of them don't want you to stick stakes into the ground, some of them don't want the A-frames.
right,
There's maybe a limit to how many,
right.
or exactly where you place the sign, not on the sidewalk, only in the grass by the stop sign, or, you know, it can be tedious, but I haven't actually run into any problems. So,
When I did Ignite last year, I don't remember who it was that was doing this day on open houses,
mhm.
but he shared a story with trying to track down the guy in the neighborhood who's the guy who takes all the open house signs, and he found him as he was opening his garage, and the entire wall in his garage was all the open house signs he had taken from realtors.
Oh my word.
I wonder who that was. I'll have
I
to
think it
track
was,
down that
I think it
story.
was Bud or Buzz. He's the open house guy from the market center that we used to be affiliated with in Highlands Ranch.
Okay, I don't know him.
He was the guy who did the open house
It
class.
wasn't Ryan.
Nope, it was Bud or Buzz.
I'll have to track him down. I've never met him. That's, that's crazy. Only in real estate. Benefits of open houses as an agent include that it's inexpensive. You get to really control what this looks like for you. I usually find myself at the party store at 8 AM on Saturday morning going, I need balloons, but you don't always need balloons, right? What are other ways you can attract attention? You know, just allow yourself to get really creative. So, but you control that expense. I print my flyers at home. I print off MLS sheets. I choose whether or not I'm gonna give a gift card or some sort of incentive for them to give me their information. I have a book, a single book, that is my login sheet. Everybody who walks through that door signs in, and I let them know this is a safety measure. And so, right, and right there it says, are you interested in more information? Would you like to participate in events? You know, and whatever questions you would like to ask them. then help them to voluntarily sign up for your newsletter. It's a prospecting tool, which we've already been talking about. You have a very high return on investment. That's something that I've always focused on in my business. I'm not the person who's like, here, let me become a real estate agent, invest, 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 invest. And let me start my marketing platform, invest, 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 invest. And let me, buy a whole new wardrobe investment. Right? Like all of these ideas that you have in your mind of what it has to be, there's the minimums, right? We know that this is not a cheap business to be a part of, but at the same time, you don't have to pay and pay and pay. That's not necessarily the way to success, right? And so the more confidence that you gain in the tools that you have that are low cost or are skill set based or are time based in the front end, that return on investment improves, right? So knock doors, print out your little flyers here on the printer if you have to. And then qualifying leads. So the cool thing about open houses that most of the time people who are coming to open houses have been thinking about buying or selling. There's already an intention there, where when you cold call or meet somebody at a party or whatever, it's kind of a hit or miss. So it narrows down that funnel a little bit.
Can I ask you about your sign-in sheets?
Sure.
Is that something, I've always found it to be distasteful personally, so I'm curious about other opinions or perspectives on this, but if you have a sign-in sheet that lets you see everyone that was there before you.
Nope.
Right, because that seems inappropriate to have.
It's a book.
So you have a whole page.
Mhm.
And so you're the first person I've heard mention that questionnaires, stuff to engage people with. Usually it's just like a sign in here and I'll, if you want, it's a conversation piece more than, but I like the idea of having, it's like a single page, quick questionnaire.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you go to the dentist or something, you fill out
Yeah.
one page or whatever.
Yep, and it's not even very complicated. It's their basic information. Are they working with an agent? Are they currently looking to buy or sell? Their basic information is name, phone number, and voluntary address. I can, at that point, everybody does different things, and this is one of the greatest ideas, but I really suck at this part, is let me text you the MLS sheet. Save it as a PDF in your phone and just send it over. Then you've got their phone number, you can do that. And it ties you together and send them a text, hey, this is Cammie, here's your information for the home, thanks for visiting. And it initiates that conversation. It's really smart, right? Then the basic questions are, do you have a home to sell? Are you looking to buy? Are you interested in events? May I follow up with you? Would you like to be a part of my newsletter or get market updates or however, whatever language is right for you around inviting them to continuous discussion? Would you like to have coffee? Do you want a CMA? Those types of things you can add in there. I try to keep it simple. I don't want to hold them at the door for a long time because I started at the seller high. We had lines coming out the front door of the open houses, where now I have 3 people, it might change a little bit, right? So.
There's also like e-sign-ins that you can just have them scan a QR code, and that is another way to make it secure, so they're not seeing everybody else's information.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And they can just input their.
Or through commands, you can build a landing page, and on the landing page, it's an e-sign-in. And then you're in the landing page, it's just one simple form.
I don't know how to do it, but I've heard.
Okay, cool. Did that help?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try really hard, and I'm sorry, guys, that we have to wrap up at 11:30, and I have a tendency to really rabbit hole.
We
Okay.
all do.
I don't think you're anywhere close to Ricky. Ricky goes down
I love that
Just
guy.
take
He's
5
like my
minutes.
mentor.
35 minutes later and we were still in the same story.
But his stories are good and funny. I wish I was more funny like Ricky. Okay. I want to back up just a little bit thinking about open houses, because this is a tool. When we first get started, we're learning so many different things, we can kind of drop pieces along the way. And it becomes a part of our system, but we lose part of the power of implementing a tool if we're not slowing down enough to really think it through, right? So this is a tool that you can use to grow your business. The more clear you are on how you want it to grow your business, the more you're gonna get out of it, right? So we wanna set goals for every single action step that we take. What could be a goal for an open house? If you were to hold an open house this weekend, what would be a goal that you could set that would give you a measurable outcome from your energy?
One person in command, one new lead potential.
Love it. That's steps forward. Anybody else?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, if I pick up 5 new names, something like that.
Fantastic.
That's
I
the same
mean,
exact.
anybody else? The rabbit hole showed up, so I'm
New cookie recipes.
gonna- there you go.
Maybe leading up to it, you can say, I'm gonna, practice scripts for, 30 minutes a day.
Yes.
Leading up to it.
That's wonderful.
What do you think about like door knocking in the neighborhood that you're doing? Okay.
We had, when I did Ignite, we had a fellow who taught, it was 100 doors that you would hand flyers to, personally invite and hand flyers to, or 100 phone calls that you would make. So a goal could be the outcome, which you may not control, or the goal can be the action that you absolutely 100% control and can succeed at. When you're building your business, be focused less on outcome and trust in the fact that if you're doing the processes, the outcome is going to be organic. Does that make sense? So what do you control in this? How many people do you talk to? How many places do you go? How many signs do you put out? How many phone calls, doors, flyers, social media, which we'll talk about next. That's my game, social media.
Had somebody at some point talk about that door knocking for open houses where you should definitely flank the house on either side by 10 houses and across the street.
Yeah.
Because neighbors, human nature, nosiness,
Yeah.
all the neighbors want to see in that house,
Yeah.
right? And so to invite, if you're gonna schedule your open house, you're gonna promote it on social media. Let's say you're doing it from 11 till 2.
Mhm.
When you door knock the neighbors a week ahead of time and then a day ahead of time, you tell them, hey, the open house goes from 11 till 2, but I'm holding a special open house just for neighbors from 10 to 11, a previewing for neighbors.
That's good.
So that way, by the time your open house is even starting, chances are there's gonna be people coming and going when the general public comes to your open house, which creates a little hype and a little stir around the property. Gets people feeling like, oh, if I like this, I better put in an offer. I already saw 3 people leaving, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, this gives me a better idea of how to do it real estate wise. I mean, it's one thing, because we use an app and we identify voter registration, party affiliation, how often they vote. And so it pops up once you create your universe on who to go knock.
Yeah,
With this, you're not really worried about that. You're just trying to do what you're talking about, kind of like more of a perimeter type of an area. And you can just go, and it's super quick to do that. Because I think I was mentioning last week, only 10% come to the door when you ring the doorbell. They're just not gonna come to the door. And so you leave the literature is what you do for
Yeah.
sure. What your door hanger. And those of you who are listening in Zoom and stuff, make sure you invest in quality door hangers. Don't get the flimsy stuff. Don't save pennies because they won't last. They'll melt in the rain. They'll fall off. And get a good one.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I actually just bought, I know Gwen last year had talked about the plastic actual door hanger bag. And I just bought some of those because I love doing little neighborhood pop-bys. I haven't done it in a year. And so I wanted to get back out and do that. And it's because of that, like,
Yeah.
there's so many cool things you can do, like sticky notes on those, or like, I have a buyer in the neighborhood looking for a house. Your house would be a perfect match, give me a call kind of thing. That's actually how I sold my last house. Was the agent who did that. I was like, they have a buyer. I wasn't thinking about selling, but now I am, right? I'm so gullible. But then, the idea that it is so impactful, just leaving something in the day and age where people are scared to death to open their front door,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
And then a
Like,
lot of them have the Ring doorbells, and, so they just don't come to the door. So
Yeah.
if you're getting 10%, let's say you knock 100 doors on one day,
Yeah.
which is very doable, by the way. I mean, it's about, 2.5 hours worth, and only 10 people, 10% won't come to the door.
Right.
So you gotta think what the numbers are, 100 people, 10 people.
It actually feels safer, it's in my head, because it's one of my resistances is door knocking,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
like,
and if you.
what
and-
if some
and-
crazy answers?
And here's the thing, if you don't want to do that, just leave the literature. There's plenty of
that's what I
candidates I know who that's all they do, because what they're doing is the contact.
Yeah.
And it's even more so with real estate, because real estate's not nearly as annoying as a politician, because when you go to partisan politics, you either hate the person that came to the door and you blame them for everything wrong, or you love the person.
Yeah.
With real estate, it's not that way. It's just, I would say and I mentioned this last Friday, I would avoid the no solicitation thing.
Yes,
I would, now I don't, like when I campaign, I just leave the literature. I do not knock the door.
Yeah.
Even with campaigning, even though that's not solicitation, I still respect that.
Yeah.
With real estate, I won't even leave the literature on the
Yeah.
solicitation.
yeah, I have a tendency to be that person too, I stay in the lines.
Yeah.
Almost all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do door hang, the little hangers, but I won't knock,
Yeah.
Wave at the.
What has your ROA on that?
I haven't done the numbers on that, but familiarity is my goal. I
Mhm.
want people to know who I am.
Yeah.
And so what I have had is I'll do the door hangers and I'll post in the neighborhood group. I also farm where I live, and that makes a difference.
Mhm.
I'm an introvert and I rarely socialize. My husband's the same way. And yet I'm a real estate agent, right? And so people aren't gonna see me at the park hanging out with people. They're not, when I walk my dogs, I'm the person who's like, don't look at me. I just am like, I don't wanna talk to anybody. And it's just how I operate, right? It's just my personality. And so I built these systems that help me to get in front of people without actually interacting with them so much that I end up backing up, because the introvert personality needs to kind of go away and shut the door and then regroup to have the energy to go back out and do it again. So I had to build systems that work for that. So the door hanging works really well
Yeah.
for me. And then I follow it up with social media, and then I follow it up with a one-on-one.
Okay.
And I've had people reach out to me on social media. They're like, hey, thanks for the seeds and cute note that you left on my door.
Yeah.
I'd love a CMA, the response has been good.
The reason I was asking that, and I'll set the numbers low here, because I was just doing some of the math here. If you hit 50 doors a day, which is about an hour and a half of just leaving
Mhm.
literature.
Yeah.
Not even writing, just leaving the literature. And you do that like 4 days a week,
Mhm.
okay? So you're spending like maybe an hour, because you're clicking the homes. You're not having to pick homes, you're just going right down the streets and all that stuff.
Right.
So 50, that's about an hour a day.
Yeah.
For 4 days a week.
Yeah.
That's 200 homes a week.
Yeah.
So that gives you almost 800 homes, a month.
Yeah.
And so if you can get like 2% return of that, they actually reach out to you.
Yeah.
Or even 1%, you're getting like 8 people.
Yeah.
16 people.
A month.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
If you can, if those numbers line up
Yeah.
pretty well.
I love that you're putting the numbers to it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially
It will
considering
put it
that 1 to 2 deals a month is a decent living.
That's what I'm
Yes, it
saying.
is.
Gabby,
That's
thrilled.
So you see where I'm coming. I'm encouraging everyone, whatever fears you have with door knocking, don't have fears with them. It's really not that bad, especially if you're just leaving the literature.
Yeah,
And it's not that much time, because you're just racing down, the streets, and you're just leaving your literature. Just
Yeah.
make sure that you have really nice eye-catching literature. And
Yeah.
it's clear and
And
it's
leaving
it's
stuff.
sturdy and
yeah, value.
So I
Right.
love the idea of a CMA,
Mhm.
but honestly, last time, I don't even think it was during Ignite, it was during the PC coaching earlier in the year. CMAs seem like a whole can of worms. I don't know how to do one yet.
Oh, that's why.
Well, we literally in coaching, I was like, so can we touch on CMAs? How hard is it to do this? And according to Britt at that time, it was like a very difficult thing to try and teach us how to do in a way that made some kind of sense or something. Granted, I think she's like a perfectionist in how she does hers. But is there a simple CMA that's gonna register with people? Cause
Totally.
I'll tell you right now, like the house right behind me just sold for 800,000 the first weekend it listed.
Yeah,
I paid 400,000 for mine.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I don't even understand it. So
so,
how could I give that person, how could I give anyone in the neighborhood a CMA? Where in my opinion, our neighborhood is like $550,000 houses. You know,
so this is something that I'm gonna have to come back to, okay?
another
But-
day, an email, whatever, I would just love, because I love the idea. To me, door knocking and leaving literature seems a little spammy if there's not a value proposition for your people.
There always should be a value proposition, 100%.
Right, but just like a
Absolutely.
picture of me,
No.
hey, here I am, I'm gonna save the day for you. You know,
I'm the
That
neighbor.
doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I'm the neighborhood realtor. You know, and I want to back up just a second too, because there's so many different tools that are out there for you to learn how to do this. Some of them are very complicated and take time to learn. I got my PSA certificate through Smetra and designation, which is the pricing strategy advisor. And they just taught it. And it was worth every penny that I paid for it, which was not very much. It was like a full day class. And again, the end of the fire hydrant type of information, right? But once I wrapped my mind around what they were giving me, it helped me to really embrace fully the value of a home. Because you have to, I'm married to a contractor. My value is I'm gonna beat you up for every stick that's in this house, right? I'm on the wrong side. I need to come around to the other side, right? But very similar to what your experience is. Hold on, I paid 400 for this 3 years ago, 5 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay, and we're at 800? Huh? What a
You know,
ripoff.
I know we've seen
right?
some, you know, evaluations going up over the past 2 years, but not
Yeah.
double.
But, and yet we have, because the value is in what the buyer will pay.
I mean, I'm stoked. My house is nicer than that house.
There you go.
I'm not renovated the way they just renovated, but
Yeah,
now I'm like, I can justify renovating my house as nice as I wanted to, whereas a year ago, when I almost pulled the trigger, I couldn't justify it. I'm like, I can't stick 200 grand into this house. It'll never be worth more than that.
so I'm gonna just write a note for myself to ask them, Ricky does a great CMA class. To have Ricky teach CMAs.
The other thing to me is I feel like CMAs are, I'm sure there's a very technical, this is what a CMA should look like. But at the end of the day, just to be crude, rude, and true about it, I don't want to present something to somebody that differs very much in the valuation from what Zillow is going to tell them their valuation is without being able to tell them why Zillow is blowing smoke. Because when I go on Zillow and I look at my house on Zillow and it says 675, but the one behind me just sold for 800, and I bought mine for, I'm like, where did you even come up with that number, Zillow? But that's what the average, which again, keep in mind, 80+% of our community is average-minded people, and mediocrity is the new norm. So a lot of people don't even have the capacity to do anything besides, but everyone knows how to pull up Zillow in less than 3 seconds on their phone.
Mhm.
So if I present you with a CMA and I say, hey, I think your house is worth 625, then they go on Zillow and they say 675, I look like a schmuck,
Then you need to take one of those classes.
you know?
Okay. So, I mean, we can around whether or not offering a CMA is something that you want to do, that's totally up to you, right? It's a valuable tool for me because I understand the numbers. So we need to get you in classes.
Well, I'm a
to where
numbers
you feel
guy.
Confident,
I just want to understand it so I can represent it confidently.
yes. And the difference between being an appraiser and the value, the market value of a home. And what is the difference between the two? And where are they most important? Because the appraisal of a home is not the same as the market value of a home. And that's where we need to understand the difference. And then how to wrap our mind around, you know, where is it coming from? But that's another story. So I'll ask Ricky about that, okay? Or Gwen, maybe Gwen wants to teach it. Let's go back to open houses for a minute and talk about picking the house. So if it's not your own listing, how might you choose a home that's going to best benefit you as an agent, best benefit a potential buyer, best, be the best dynamic all the way around in a neighborhood? What might you look for?
One in
Yeah.
like my neighborhood, the area that I service.
Yeah, so comfort with the area, right? One that you might have community, right?
That fella Bud or Buzz, he specifically says as his philosophy, I only want to work this neighborhood.
Mhm.
I don't want to have to drive very far to do anything, but I will hold open houses for any broker from any brokerage, as long as he keeps an eye on his neighborhood, and anytime a house comes up for sale, he's like, hey, Mr. Coldwell Banker, can I hold an open house in your property, in your listing? He said something like 80% of his listings are not with Keller agents, or pardon me, 80% of the open houses he holds
Or not.
are not with Keller listings.
Yeah, and understandable. Understandable strategy, great strategy. Anybody else?
I was just gonna say, understanding the neighborhood, like the boundaries, things about like the schools, the education in the area, shopping, restaurants, really knowing that entire, I don't know if it's zip code or just local area, but just having a general, if not more advanced knowledge about everything that neighborhood offers can really pivot and set you apart from others that might just know about the house, so to speak.
Absolutely. I love that, because a lot of agents will just pull MLS and it will have all the features of the home and nothing else, right? And then you have people coming in like, well, we were just driving by the neighborhood and saw this and wanted to pop in. Was that an elementary school up the street? How far away are the restaurants? Are there trails? Are there parks? Can I walk my dog? Is there a dog park close by? And how much more value could you be of as an agent to them if you know those things? And remember that this is about building relationships, right? And building that trust.
Tammy, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I learned this just from searching other agents on Instagram, and this is just Instagram specifically. There is a section, I haven't even done this yet, but I've been exploring the idea. There's a section where your like highlights go on a profile, and there's an aspect to it that you can create something called guides, plural with an S, and it allows you to basically name a neighborhood or a certain area, let's say Berkeley, or let's say Lodo or Sloan's Lake area. I mean, there's just different things, and inside each named neighborhood, you can put. I mean, you would want it to. I mean, in my opinion, you would want it to correlate with your niche, or your niche, but you can put different things. Like for me, I'm an outdoorsy guy, and an active outdoorsy guy. So I would put things that, I mean, I love coffee shops. So putting local coffee shops in that neighborhood in your guide section. So when people scroll through social media, they're like, oh, wow. I mean, I've never lived here, but this is kind of cool. There's certain things in this, women might tend to go towards like nail salons and spas.
Never thought about using that feature on Instagram that way.
It's
That's
crazy.
smart.
Yeah.
What's it called? Guides?
Well, you would title it guides, right?
So you would have to create a creator or a business profile on Instagram. You can just take like your personal and change it to business or creator
Yeah.
in like the settings. But once you go to settings, there's a section on there called guides. And that's where you start building out like your guide. And I've been exploring this and seeing like agents in Miami and agents in LA. And I'm like, you can literally target a specific neighborhood. Let's say you take like 3 or 4 different, neighborhoods that you're farming, and you can hone in on what that neighborhood has to offer for people that don't live here or are visiting and like are curious about Colorado. So
Love that. I love social media, and we'll actually be focusing on that in just a little bit here. So yes, becoming so familiar with the area that you become a master at it really helps you to become like the farm leader, right? Which also is you know, what we're talking about when we're like, I'm only gonna work in this space, this is my farm, I'm not leaving it no matter what, because it can be a lot when you're like, I did the Perry Park adventure and I live in Parker and we just closed and I went out there for 9 months, at least 3 times a month. And I was like, okay, here we go. You know, like another 3 hours on the road, you know, I got this. Around everything else that we're doing, it can become quite a bit. And so I love that idea of like, really like taking over everybody's listings with your own open houses. So that's really smart too. There's some really great ideas that you guys have. This is exciting. So another thing to think about when you're picking an open house, if it's somebody else's listing and you want to really get the traffic rolling, look for a house that has a visible location that's preferably not more than 3 turns from a major road. I have a listing like this right now, and it's super interesting because you can, within, it's like 1-2 turns off of a major road and up the block from an elementary school. There's so many places to put signs out there and so many different times that you could hold an open house that would bring a different set of traffic in, depending on when you want to hold it. So if anybody wants to hold an open house, I got a listing for you. Perfect location. But you know, if you're just randomly selecting homes that are on the MLS, take a look at where that house is. If it's tucked away and it's really far away from a major intersection and you're not really comfortable with social media advertising, or you're not sure what your turnout's going to be, maybe pick a different house so that you can get more return on your investment of time.
Can I make one more note to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm sorry if I'm like interrupting you. I kind of love this. I did this 2 weeks ago and I was like, I don't really see much benefit in it. And then when I did it, I realized how beneficial it was. When you're getting ready to host an open house, what I found was like really, I don't know, exciting. And like nobody really tells you what to do. I mean, you kind of just got to do it yourself. I drove around, I looked on the MLS to find a house. And then I found on social media that they were holding an open house. And I drove around kind of learning where they placed signs, because placing signs is huge. And I noticed something pretty common. And, you know, I can't say this for obviously, you know, most agents, but depending on who you are, like some of these signs were behind bushes where you just can't see. Some were placed in areas where you're like, what literally went through this person's mind right now, like to put this up? So I just wanted to say, like, I find that beneficial. If you have time, just drive around and see placements of open house signs, because that will draw in, you know, a crowd, that'll draw in traffic, you know, especially off a main road like that. So
I love that idea, and it's a great segue, because now we're going to talk about preparing and practicing, and this is a great way to prepare. Go to other people's open houses. So looking at signs is one facet of it, but there's a lot of different creative ways to hold an open house. You know, sometimes we hear about these great big shindigs, or you know, all you have to do is watch real estate on TV, and they'll show you how to really put on an open house, right? If you're into that. We keep ours very simple, costs very low, and in all price points, you can have a successful open house based on preparing ahead, planning where your sign placement's going to be, understanding who you want to attract to the area, and making sure that you are targeting those markets. So, and even then, sign placement is one of those things that plays a role in that, right? Where are you going to advertise? What are questions that people might be asking you about this home? And are you prepared to answer those questions? So in your preparation, even practicing. And maybe a way of practicing is partnering with another agent and doing an open house with another agent, right? Maybe it's scripts and learning the language, right? Getting yourself more confident with that dialogue.
I'm an over-preparer, overthinker by nature. I feel like it's one of my bigger obstacles is I want everything to be just so. So
Yeah.
I'm like trying to think of every possible, what could go wrong? How can I curb that before it happens? Kind
Yeah.
of thing, you know?
And so my question would be is if you change the language instead of how can I curb that, can you change it to how might I provide a tool for that? And because the language that we speak for ourselves in is often how we end up feeling about it. right? So if you're thinking and you can foresee 900 obstacles, it becomes overwhelming, right? Or frustrating or fear-inducing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where if you can say, okay, I can see these obstacles, I'm gonna create the tools and I'm gonna narrow it down. My first open house, I'm gonna do 2 of these tools. And the next open house, I'm gonna add 2 more. And then the next open house, add 2 more. And then now I've got 6 tools that I'll use at every open house going forward to prevent these obstacles from stopping me from living the life that I wanna live. Does that resonate?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, feels like, the one that comes to mind first right away is like, is it still acceptable to have a box of booties by the front door so people can slide on some disposable overshoes?
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm terrified, I'm gonna hold an open house and you're listing next week, and some asshole's gonna come in with dog poop on his shoe, and now I'm like, oh my God, what do I do?
It's all over the carpet and
It's all over the
everything.
carpet, exactly.
Those things will happen. Have booties on site.
And that's
And if you
acceptable
can ask
though.
the agents
Yeah.
too, are they providing booties? It's absolutely acceptable.
Yeah.
And a lot of sellers may even ask for that, right?
Can I also ask you, how often are you seeing open houses held in occupied homes versus unoccupied homes?
All of my sellers get an open house, whether they're living there.
More so, my question is, I'm nervous about other people's personal property. Like a
Yeah.
staged house, fine, whatever.
Right.
But like somebody's house is there and
Yeah.
the wife has a jewelry box on the dresser, like I'm like, hey, put your valuables away.
Yes.
And have strangers walking through the house, let's
Yes.
not tempt people,
Yeah.
you know?
So you have those conversations with your seller as you talk about how the open house can benefit them,
Right.
right? Guns, any sort of drugs, all of their jewelry. It needs to be behind lock and key. Don't put it in your top drawer in your dresser.
Right.
And don't do your open house alone. And I have a tendency to have one person in the main entry, signing people in, holding conversations there. And another person maybe kind of tagging along. I'm gonna stand back, but I'm here to answer your questions. And so somebody can also be floating around the house, eyes on all the time.
Right.
Right? And it helps give a sense of security for your seller, for you, and, answers questions for buyers as they're coming through. Giving them that space, right, to kind of take in the space. Any other ideas of how you might prepare before you do an open house?
Cookie dough.
Cookie dough. I've yet to cook for one. I don't even cook for my family, but I do bring cookies,
You bring store-bought?
store-bought. There's a gal that I just connected with who does homemade, she's like a chef person who makes the special cookies that are decorated. They're sugar cookies and they have the icing that makes pretty pictures.
I'm like, who has time for that?
I don't make, the pretty sugar cookies. Right. And, maybe get them done in houses or keys or something like that, or with your logo or something like that, you could provide those. I always have something on site that invites them to slow down and, take a few extra minutes to talk. So I do in the really healthy ones too, where I've done prepackaged nuts because of nut allergies, right? So I make sure I have packaged nuts. I might do crackers. A lot of people will do homemade things. I think because I started in COVID, I don't even consider it. It's just if it's not in a package or coming from a package that it could be contaminated.
Right.
And I don't want to be responsible for that, but a lot of people do. I had my last open house, the lender that I invited, she brought homemade.
Cookies are one of those things that a number of people that I respect have said, like, man, definitely, you can make cookie dough the night before and roll it out into a log.
Yeah.
Wrap it up in wax paper, and then you're just cutting slices of it, dropping it on a
Whole
cookie sheet.
house. Yeah.
And, just like every half an hour throughout your open house, you put a fresh batch of 6 cookies in the oven and the house just smells like cookies all day. I love cookies, so for me, I would just eat them all if nobody came. But
I mean, well, exactly. I'm like, the worst case scenario, you have fresh baked cookies
yeah,
and you've had some quiet time to yourself to think and practice your, make a plan or something like that.
just anybody who walks in the house with that smell of some fresh chocolate chip cookies coming out of the oven,
Just about anybody that would win over. Let's talk about time for open houses. What do you think are some of the greatest times to host an open house?
Oh, I was just about to say this. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is a great time. And then I feel like I've been just reading on like real estate forums and whatnot. Sometimes 12 to 4, sometimes 12 to 2. And this goes back to like knowing your area specifically, knowing I know this sounds cliche, but knowing the traffic in the area, knowing what people do for work, knowing, where it's located in the city or in the suburbs, because that can help you figure out, a better time or a best time to do an open house.
Right,
So
I love that. And I mean, think about it. The one that I have is up the street from an elementary school. So is it best for me to host my open house on a Sunday from 12 to 3, or is it better for me to host the open house on Wednesday from 3 to 6? Or from 2 to 5? Right? Trying to catch those extra people who happen to have to drive through the neighborhood anyway. Mom lines are the worst, but child pickup lines are the worst. And so if there's open houses in the neighborhood, texting their kid, I'll be right back. I'll be 5 minutes late, but I'm gonna pick you up, right? I mean, I love that. Get to know the neighborhood, see what's happening in the area, and adjust accordingly. I heard, so Amy did this open house workshop just a couple weeks ago. Feels like just a couple weeks ago, it might have been longer than that. But one of the ideas that she had around it was that somebody she knew or somebody that she heard from would plant themselves in an open house all day long, every day of the week, different house, and just work from there instead of going into the office. So, I mean, you can hold an open house from 8 to 6 if you wanted to, and just work from there. So you get to kind of make the rules around what's around your seller, and what's right for them, and what works right for you, right? And what's your best time? When do you have the most energy? So it's not just about the house and the neighborhood, but also about you, and when are you at your best? Let's also talk a little bit about themes. Have you ever seen a theme, an open house theme?
Heard of.
Let's talk about that.
I've heard of people doing brunch themes with mimosas and croissants, stuff like that,
Yeah,
where you can, if you're holding that 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. kind of an open house, you can pick up a couple dozen croissants at whatever bakery and then have mimosas or orange juice there for people that would come through.
yeah,
Again, though, it's like, am I gonna give somebody a glass of something that could stain something to walk around out? Don't do red wine,
yeah.
Although
I always do water.
I have heard of like wine and cheese
People do it.
boards being out or whatever.
Yeah, people do it. And maybe there's a level of insurance that you cover, right? If you're gonna do things like that. Tacos and tequila was one that I've heard of recently. You can do kids themed open houses, Halloween is coming up, right? Come do a trick or treat street. Or come by for, we're gonna have a blow up Halloween bouncy house and, somebody's gonna paint faces. Through a networking group, I met a guy who does the balloon shapes and he's dying to do an open house. And I thought, well, what would you I don't know that I would go attend an open house just because they had a balloon shaped guy there, but what can I partner with a balloon shaped guy that then now the kids are happy because they walk away with a balloon and the parents are happy because they walked away with what, I don't know, tacos, pizza.
How much do you spend on balloons when you do balloons for an open house?
I did. I am such a simplifier. I was only getting like maybe 10 balloons the first couple times I did balloons, and I don't do balloons anymore. I will do the little whirligig things. I forget what they're called, but they spin.
Pinwheels?
Yeah, the pinwheels. I also like the glittery cut banner things. Hang them on my signs and put them. I'm just like something that attracts attention, but the balloons. So I made this mistake I've been really blessed to get to sell some luxury homes in Parker, and I bought these balloons that I thought were so cool. I'm a sucker for glitter. They had the clear balloon on the outside, like a gold balloon on the inside, and then it had all this glitter stuff. So I thought, when the sun hits that, you're not gonna miss it. And there are like 5-acre properties out there, so I was like, you're gonna wanna see it from the highway, which is just to the north of there. Within 5 minutes of the front end of the open house, the wind started blowing and my balloons popped. And so there was glitter and foil and balloon debris all over the place. They got super twisted around each other. It was just like a debacle over the balloons. That was the last time I got balloons. So, you know, just find a different way.
Like a brand.
I was also gonna
bouncy
say,
house for kids.
I mean, if that's what you wanna do, there's the theme, right?
A big-
I was also just
big
gonna make a
bouncy
note,
house.
and this was just like going on YouTube and getting ideas from other people. You can go on Amazon and type in reusable weather balloon, and some of them aren't necessarily like, I mean, you don't want like a 100-foot weather balloon, but some of them go up like 20 feet, and you literally can reuse them over and over, and they range between like $20 and $40, and you can just bring them to each open house that you have. And I mean, from like, a few streets away or whatever, you can see this like big red balloon in the sky, and you're like, what's going on? So that's just another thing I saw on YouTube.
Yeah, and this is what a lot of the builders do, right? We always say when we go, because we're geeks like that, we don't have a social life, right? I've already told you guys that, so we go look at model homes for fun. And we follow the balloons. You can see them everywhere now. This is a good one. We already talked about it a few times, so I gotta advance forward one more. Sorry, guys, I see this slide. Okay. Prepare the stats. What are some statistics that might be beneficial that bring value for the attendees of your open house?
Like number of homes on the market in that neighborhood, number of days on the market for those homes.
Yes.
Price points, things like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. All of that is readily available on the MLS. So what's happening in the market, in the hyper local market? This is one of the ways that I always focus when I market, is hyper local, what's happening at your neighbor's house and at their house. And, it's very relevant to them when you get hyper local. What about school district information? Employment information for the neighborhood or community? Are there rec centers? Are there trails nearby? Are there gyms, that you can become a member at nearby? What type of recreation is available? What about traffic and commuting through the neighborhood? My mouth doesn't want to work anymore. I already went on break. And being aware of that to answer those types of questions. We already talked a little bit about, are there local dog parks? Are there local restaurants? While we're building our house, we live in a townhouse community that's right off of 470 in Gartrell, and it's like the most convenient place to live in the world. You have the mall 5 minutes away, you have 3 restaurants literally at the end of the block, you have a middle school right there, everybody loves to walk their dogs, we have a dog park. You walk to the top of the hill, there's like this weird path that's not necessarily like a public trail. A benefit of living in the farm, right, is knowing all the little ins and outs. So when you're talking to people about the assets of living in that space, you can talk to them about those little ins and outs secrets. You walk to the top of this hill and you've got a view that will knock your socks off for days. Trust me, when you leave this open house, go on up there. Just park at the end of the street and walk up that hill. It'll change your life. And I'll see you in an hour. Come on back and tell me how it was, right? Those types of things can make a big difference. If you're in a neighborhood that's not where you live, how do you get to know that neighborhood? What do you need to do to get connected to the assets that are there so that you can show up as that knowledge, that value for those potential buyers in the area? And if you think about this as a lead generation tool, one of the things that my tribe, that's what I call them, my following, really likes about how I show up is I am an information, like I just gush all the time, information. And they feel empowered and supported because of that, right? I'm not asking them for anything most of the time. I am offering an invitation to connect with me and learn. And an open house for me doesn't work any different than that, okay? It's trust factor, which we keep bringing up, right? Okay. Safety. Buddy system. I often will invite a lender. I like having that conversation. Arrive early, scope out the space, make sure you're okay. If it's a vacant home, is there anybody living there? Right, that should probably not be living there. Park on the street, not in the driveway, so nobody can block you in. Check all entrances and exits. If it's not been locked, especially, check through your home. Make sure your cell phone is fully charged. Like I said, I send my husband a snapshot of the home that I'm gonna hang out at. Or a link, we can send him the Google Map link, right? Turn on all the lights before anybody gets there. Make sure that you are in alignment with the correct COVID protocols and follow your market center guidelines and checklists for open houses. If you haven't gotten one, I'm sure it's in the participant guide or talk to Amy or Bonnie. Okay. Safety is a big deal. You know, we can also talk about when somebody does come through, make sure that they walk ahead of you, not behind you. Make sure you keep the key to the home in a safe space that you know where it's at. Don't leave it in the door. What else? Mask and social distancing is something that we have to talk about in this world. You know, if there's a flare up, a breakout, whatever in your community, please make sure you're following protocols so that you don't get sick, so that you don't take it home to your family or transfer it to the sellers or other people, right?
At another open house class we did, I think Gwen talked about, like at the end of it, if you're doing 2 to 4 or 4 o'clock, you lock the front door. Then you do your walk around to shut off the
Yeah.
lights and all of that.
We were both there together.
Yeah, which I thought was like, I actually hadn't thought about doing that. in the
Yeah,
past.
it's really smart.
But
And
once
I
I
still
did-
have a tendency not to do it,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really smart. Because you don't know, it's funny because you don't know how people are casing things nowadays. The crime rate's gone up so much, and I always read stories on Nextdoor that I'm like, holy cow, like you literally walked from here to here and somebody broke into your car and took all that, you know, what happened?
Yeah.
That you didn't, that they, you know, like my brain just gets like, how is
Right.
this possible? And so for us to become a victim as a real estate agent is possible. And we need to be ahead of it, right? Ahas, let's talk a little bit about ahas from this. What are you learning?
Probably, it's interesting. It's, you guys have brought up safety numerous times. And it's something that I'm running on as a politician, as my party is running on this, okay? I mean, everybody in my party, the entire state is talking about supporting law enforcement and reducing crime because of what's happened with them or how it's permeated. Yet me as an individual thinking real estate, it's not even crossing my mind. You know, you talk, because I guess for me personally, I have not been a victim yet or been, you know, this. And so, but yet I'm telling you, every person I talk to, most people I talk to, I'll qualify that. You mentioned Nextdoor, you mentioned, you know, all this. I can tell you Aurora, where I'm at, law enforcement is down 120 officers.
Yeah, that's
You know,
what I meant.
They cannot respond. And so crime has just permeated. And so, but yet me, I'm thinking safety, what's the big deal? And I need to get over that. I need to realize, hey, you know, just because I haven't personally experienced anything, everyone around me is talking this way.
Yeah.
It's something I'm running on. It's on my website in terms of supporting law enforcement so we can get a handle on runaway crime. I need to make that connection.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Before you are a victim.
Exactly.
Because it's a real thing in Aurora.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other ahas? How does this feel so far? Is this something that feels doable?
I'm excited to try some out personally.
Yeah.
I have a listing.
Where is it? Where's your
I keep
listing?
prompting that. It's in Aurora.
Yeah.
Just kidding, I didn't mean to put that way. It's in Tollgate Village. And
Oh, that's
Tollgate
nice.
Village is this really cute area.
Yeah, because I'm
It's
not by
mature.
Southlands. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not far from
Yeah.
Southlands at all. It's a block away from this gorgeous elementary school. There's trails that run behind the elementary
Yeah.
school. The home is in good condition. And it's a really cool, I've never seen a floor plan like this before. I get super curious about the architecture of a home. This is a tri-level and it has a basement. So there's 3 levels that are finished and it has the basement. The lower level has a walkout to this huge private backyard, 6-foot fences, which
That's
are like gold in Aurora because nobody builds their homes with those. And that your lot is good size, you know. Landscaping is new. She's a eco-friendly warrior. And so we don't have like a watering system in the front of our backyard and there's no grass planted because it's a waste of water mindset, you know. But she has a garden and big mature,
Is she xeriscaping?
thank you, she is xeriscaping. But
By zero, do you mean dirt?
well, it is weeds. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, just whatever naturally grows there.
Yeah.
And so it's not gorgeous to look at from the outside, which has been a hindrance for us. Right?
Yeah, sure.
But we have brand new roofing on there. We have all of the sewer lines have all been scraped out recently because we've been under contract before. And so those were things that came up.
Yeah.
And she's like, fix it. She just fixed it, you know, and so, but unfortunately that deal fell through. And so we've made all this work and people are looking at it, well, it's been under contract before, it must be faulted, right? Default response. But the home itself is in good condition, so if you want to show it, I would absolutely love for that. I'm gonna get back on track, so I want to make sure you guys get that. Okay. Prepare, prospect, and pursue model approach to your open house. Okay. Well, we talked a lot about preparing. Because I didn't read through some of this before, so I apologize. I'm kind of like, huh? This is actually going to be repetition a little bit.
We have, don't we, on, in the resources, we have like an open house toolkit.
Yeah, and I think
class,
that came
right?
from that class.
Okay,
And it's got the
need to look
coolest
back at
tools
that.
in it. I mean, I kept that.
Yeah.
It's actually on my counter of things that I need to like
yeah,
sit down with and kind of build my own system around.
just in talking about preparation.
Yeah,
it's a
oh,
good tool.
absolutely. Okay, so I had to just get my mind wrapped around what they're going at here. So preparation, prospecting, and pursuing your leads that you're lead generating, right? In preparation, remember that you've set a goal for your open house, whatever that goal is, whether it's the action that you take or the result of the actions that you're hoping to get. Kind of keep that front and center, set high, but also achievable. Push yourself to get uncomfortable, but know that you can also do it. That's how we end up putting ourselves in a situation where we can move forward. Work on removing those limiting beliefs and focus on your success. Believe in yourself. You have, if I can do this, I came from coaching. I did not know a thing about real estate as a profession. I know about contract, I can build a home, but I don't know anything about selling one, right? That's changed very quickly. It changed just by getting myself uncomfortable and showing up and doing open houses and answering questions. Obviously, you have to go through it to get to it. You have to go through it, to do it, to master it. Practice your conversations for greeting people and answering questions. Practice capturing contact information. If you can make this habitual, it won't be so scary when you're asking for it, right? Just like everything else, just like scripts and everything else. Go to a networking event, you know, maybe don't be intentional about selling, but just connecting and building relationship. What does that look like? I had to learn that, right? How many appointments would you like to get from your next open house? How many leads do you intend to capture, right? Clear, actionable, doable goals. At the end of this section, probably in your little participant guide, is a place for you to build your own open house plan. Please set time aside and do those pieces of the work, because where there's a plan, action is easier to take. So once you've done the hard work, like picking your house, knowing the next few steps will involve maximizing potential client traffic at your open house. This is going to involve posting online in the days leading up to the house. Actually, I'll hold this because I'm going to read some of it. 93% of buyers use a website to find a house. Your open house will be posted on that website. Zillow will show there's going to be an open house. You will get into realtor.com, which we learned at the open house workshop. You have to manually enter it into realtor.com. It's not something that automatically populates. Zillow, I guess, used to also be manual. But I think it's an automatic population now because you can see my open houses on Zillow. Any other place, social media is a great place to post an open house as an event. Eventbrite is a great place to post an open house.
Do you share it on the MLS when you do an open house?
Yes, it is actually, there's this place where you can input that information.
Because I would imagine if you put it there, any of the sites that populate from there, like Zillow,
Yeah.
are gonna pull that information.
Zillow will, realtor.com does not. I didn't know that until the workshop.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a great information. I was like, oh my gosh, the things you learn. And so because 93% of the buyers use a website to find a house, go where the buyers are looking, right? Post online about your open house. You can get a lot of good information from neighbors. Door knock, ask them, what do they love about the neighborhood? This is also in your participant guide. And it's under preparing for an open house. Okay. There's a checklist there. So if you don't have it open, know that it's under the tools. It's in the 22 Ignite Google Drive folder. Okay. This is such a great plan. I don't always follow this, but it really helps you to take bite-sized action steps as you come up to your open house. If you do these things, your turnout's going to be better than if you don't. Okay. Find the house, of course. Then you're going to want to start posting online. You want to post maybe some of the photos. You have to ask for permission. Can I use your listing? Is it okay if I just repost your listing? Is it all right if I use 2 or 3 photos from your listing? And then to promote your open house. Walk the neighborhood, invite the neighbors to the showing, post online again on Wednesday, and install the yard sign. Mine looks like it's a rider, goes on the top of the for sale sign, and it says open on Saturday, open on Sunday, whichever it is. You might have an A-frame that you can put up that says open, whatever day you're gonna hold it open. There are yard signs that you can stick in the ground that you can write on. Most of those do not erase, so I suggest not writing on them. Learn from me. So I have this stupid sign that's sitting in the garage for 3 years that I can't reuse. I don't know why I can't do it.
Do you know about the service that offers open house signage?
I have heard of this service multiple times and have never gotten the name.
So Brittany Hamrick in our office here uses it. And I think it's something like,
It was Axiom, and they don't offer it anymore.
that's who she,
Buildasign.com.
Say again?
Buildasign.com, and there's a coupon code that takes $70 off your first order.
Okay, that's for making the signs. He's talking about
Set the
setting the
signs out,
signs
right?
out.
there's actually there's a business that Brittany has talked to us about before where they will put out as many as 100 signs for you.
Yeah, that was Axiom. They don't do it anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
No,
Oh, interesting.
tell me.
Because it would be great. I mean, that's a lot of, although I will tell you, my very first deal I ever got, my first deal I ever closed, I got, and this was in the hot market, 20, 30 offers on a property.
Mhm.
I showed up an hour before the open house was scheduled, introduced myself to the realtor, helped her set up her open house signs. And before the open house was even happening, because I had taken my client through a walkthrough,
Yeah.
I had an accepted offer before her open house even
Oh,
went underway.
nice.
And I was just like, why do you want to even do this?
Yeah.
It sounds like a nightmare. You don't want to do this open house, do you? Come on, I put a strong offer on the table right now. And before the open, and then she had to stay there and do the open house. even though they had an accepted offer.
She was sitting there eating her chocolate chip cookies, right?
That's right. That's funny.
So that's another open house related tip.
Yeah,
Go
building
talk,
those relationships.
go there an hour before it's scheduled, because that realtor may or may not be happy to see you, but they're gonna be there setting up their open house.
Yeah.
Did you come with your client?
We had done a walkthrough the day before through
Oh.
Showtime or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
I gotcha.
I had set up a viewing.
I got
My client was like, yeah, I want to put in an offer. I was like, what's your strongest and best offer? Here's what I think will win it. Do you want to go with it? She was like, yeah, let's do it. So I just went in and met with the listing agent. And like I said, within that first hour, I had my offer into her and it was accepted by her seller before the open house doors even opened. And then she had to deal with tons of pissed off agents for the rest of the day that were like, what do you mean you're under contract? I thought you were having an open house.
Oh, you had an open house. Yeah, that probably went well. People were not very nice most of the time. Okay, so installing that yard sign and maybe having an opportunity to have communication or some sort of discussion about the house as you're installing signs, which you attend somebody else's open house, but it can happen, right? If you're hosting an open house. Posting online again, I can't say enough, my whole business is built on social media. And so the connections that you make online, don't be afraid to repeat. It's from day to day, you're gonna have different people view your posts, and so you're not over posting, okay? So Thursday post online again and invite your database. Is it e-newsletter? Is it a text? Is it a phone call? Let them know that you're gonna host this open house. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting my business started. I would really love it out if you just took a few minutes out of your time to come by and hang out with me. I've had some of the most fun and busy open houses by initiating the traffic from my own tribe, right? And other people in the industry. Who do you know who's in the industry? Are you meeting with inspectors and lenders and other agents and staging consultants, right? Stagers, you know, invite them to come take a look and initiate the traffic, have people there to generate conversation. And I mean, it just makes it really fun. So invite your database. And Friday, post online again. Prepare your market stats, make sure your printouts or your materials are ready. Or not the day before, hey, tomorrow, this is what I'm doing here. Please be aware, if you have kids or pets, that we will be inviting people to the area. Or if you're not door knocking, here's another way from social media maven, is every neighborhood now has a Facebook group. And all neighborhoods are on Nextdoor app.com, nextdoor.com. And you can communicate on there as well. And post your events on there as well, and invite people and warn people, whatever you feel best communicates what your intentions are, okay? What clients like to know? Community and neighborhood information we've talked about. Just being familiar is going to help you answer those questions. Relocation information, if somebody was to move to that neighborhood from New Zealand, what do they need to know? If they are moving to that neighborhood from Utah, what do they need to know? Is it going to be a little bit different maybe? Right? What resources might be valuable to them from the neighborhood? First time buyer specifics. Who do you need to have by your side for that?
Lender.
A lender. I'm a total, like I say, I stay in my lines all the time. I'm always in my lane because I suck at some of those numbers. And so I always invite lenders because they answer these great questions. And they can pre-qualify on the spot. Mortgage information, this of course answers that as well. Pursuant to RESPA, oops. Keller Williams Associates must provide an ABA disclosure to the consumer at or before any referral is made to Keller Mortgage. I have not used Keller Mortgage yet. So that, but that is something, if you do connect with Keller Mortgage, they have a protocol. Be familiar with it. All right. Prospect, while you're there and you're connecting with people, and I know this is repetition, but this is a really important piece. The most important piece of this in my business is building rapport and trust. Because that for me is what helps me stand out. I'm not just a numbers girl, I'm not just a house girl. I'm the girl, the lady that you can come to and talk to about a home openly, honestly, put it on the table, and I will hold it for you. I will help you walk through it, and I will provide resources for you, no matter the outcome. You'll know that about me. So that's one of those things that's setting me apart. Your open house is a great place to demonstrate how you show up for your potential clients, and it will create leads in that genuine relationship right off the bat. Provide value, we've talked about that, whether it's a CMA, neighborhood information, house information, current stats that are happening in the neighborhood or in the market overall. Capture information and qualify leads, no matter what that looks like for you, capture information. I just had an open house and I lost my book under my seat in my car. And so I had the open house without any sort of, I didn't realize that I didn't have it with my kid. So I walk in and I'm all excited, ready to go. And I had 15 people walk through there who I had no way to capture their information because I wasn't prepared. How could I have saved my tush? I mean, I literally just did this, right? How could I have done different? We've talked about some of these things already.
Backup book, I guess.
Have a backup book. Yeah, that's a great idea. If you're a paper person like I am, the backup book would have been wonderful.
Have that, the MLS sheet on a PDF and text it to them.
And I was literally like, man, every person who walked through there, man, and it was like this though. Man, this.
Man, I wish I had a
really
way.
wish I had a way to capture these people's information. We all have days like that, right?
Yep.
So part of the preparing for that would be make sure you have all your tools, your ducks in a row, right? That you have them set up and easy to use. And 3 days before, when you're doing the marketing, maybe 3 days before when you prep that MLS sheet, you automatically send it to your phone. Because now you can text it to them and there's your capture. Right?
Tammy, can I ask you something really quick?
Please.
As far as open houses go, can you, I mean, I haven't done this yet, but can you create a CMA for that property and have it there in case potential clients or potential buyers want to see what like the comps are in the area, or is that kind of silly?
I've done it before. If it feels like a deal, maybe that
Okay.
would be a benefit.
Okay, but it's probably wasting my time if I go into an open house with that.
Well,
Okay.
it's never a waste of your time because you're learning how to do it and you're gaining confidence around the numbers, right? It's people
Yeah.
ask about it. How's this house priced in the area? I had recently I had an investor come through and try to swingle me a little bit because what would I know about the market? You know? So we had some great conversation because I had done my homework before the open house. I knew where the numbers were and it was my listing. He was rolling the ball at the wrong alley.
Yeah, it sounds like having it handy would be good,
Yeah,
but not necessarily busting it out for everyone who walks through the door.
yes,
Get engaged, and when somebody asks you a question, I mean, I can't imagine how you would put that together and not feel completely prepared for most of the questions about the property that come your way.
exactly.
And then to have some kind of printout in your little file folder, or whatever you have with you.
Yeah.
Sure would make you look like a superstar of being prepared.
Holy cow, nailed it.
But I don't think everybody cares. So like preparing it and then having an expectation that everyone's gonna be receptive to your presentation that you've built up in your
Mhm.
mind, I think wouldn't be the right way to go about it.
Right, and maybe, yes, exactly, keep it simple, use it as a tool, have it prepared.
And if nothing else, the next time you do another house in that neighborhood, you have something to go back and compare to.
Yes, I love that, if you want to.
Say 6 months ago, I ran this CMA on a property, I held an open house in here, and look at how much property values have gone up just in 6 months, Mr. Buyer,
Yeah, or down,
or down,
Mr. Buyer.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that we see too much of that here, though, do we? Like really going down?
Yeah, prices are cut.
I mean, prices are cutting, but a price cut is not a price going, it's not a value going down, it's just a less ambitious look at what the property is worth.
It is such a fun conversation to talk about home value because of what you're doing right there.
Yeah.
Because appraised value may or may not adjust, likely it will be adjusting. But the price that a buyer will pay for a home is going down in most areas right now. In my
Hold on,
listing
can I-
that's active, we listed at 535.
Yeah.
Okay, we are now at 525 and just starting to initiate traffic. We're gonna go down again or she's gonna run it.
So prices haven't necessarily gone down. What you can hope to get for your house in the form of appreciation that you've experienced over the past couple of years might be going down. But I don't think that, because, I mean, look, I have another business where I sell collectibles.
Okay.
And whatever it is, it could be a rock, it could be an action figure, it could be a house. It's only worth what you can get for it. So just because I thought something was worth $1,000 and I sold it for 700, doesn't mean that the price went down. It means that I was incorrect in my evaluation of said object, because it's only worth what you can sell it for.
Only worth what you can sell it for. But this is where the conversation comes in with the buyer. Anna did this better the other day than I'm going to do now because she's done these millions of times.
You're always supposed to end on an uptick.
80s trends. Oops. Last year, right? Where are we right now? Maybe here. There's God only knows here. But it's gonna keep going up, right? So straight line, Tammy, straight line, right? When you look at it as an investment, it's going to keep going up, values will keep climbing. Right now, prices have gone down from 3 months ago. The prices have gone down from 3 months ago.
Prices have gone down.
But values,
It's a lot of language.
values may not have.
Right.
And that's up to the appraiser and it's up to the closed deals, because the closed deals set the values, so hold on.
Just as a side note, something I learned about being in sales, you're never supposed to end one of those charts on a lower than, it's always supposed to end higher up.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that out loud. That was an organic for me and I was not a conscious thing for me, so.
I'm just like, if you're projecting to somebody what they might think about their house is gonna do, you wanna have it look like the possibilities are higher than where we're at right now.
Exactly. So those are conversations that you would have in an open house. And somebody's saying the prices are going down. You know what? The price on this home did go down.
Right.
We're at this value. We don't know how far it will go down.
Right.
Right? Or what the seller will accept.
Right.
But right now, it may go down a little bit lower, but let's take a look at this. And because you're making an investment that historically, for as long as we've done this, all you have to do is ask your grandma or your great grandma or your
Anybody
great great grandma, anybody,
who's owned a house for more than 10 years,
you have made the best investment in your life. And you're so glad that you did that when you did it, because if you could have done it earlier, you would have. Have we ever had any other type of conversation around it? Man, I wish I wouldn't have bought that investment last year.
Right.
Because now I have to sell it and I can't
Right.
get back what I bought 1 year. So Ricky will say, ask the question of how long they plan to own.
Right.
And their answer. Okay, I'm gonna get back on track. So prospecting. Ask your people, build a relationship. What brought you in today? Are you looking for a home in this neighborhood or in this price range? Have you been looking at other houses? What would you like to know more about the market or the neighborhood? What do you like about this house that I might share with others? Be positive and upbeat. Remember, clients are thinking about their futures and their lifestyles. Be a positive force in their imagination. So no matter what you believe, no matter what your experience is in the last month, right, in reading all the news, in taking in an emotional response of fear, pull back, do your homework, and set your activities around what is factual, statistical, historical. And that's going to help you to have confidence that your people are investing. And they're investing long-term right now, and it will pay off, right? That will help you be upbeat. Explain it's important to meet clients where they are. Oh, that's me. Explain. I will explain to you to meet clients where they are. That if they're not interested or engaging, match their energy is totally okay. You don't have to follow them through the house, not a big deal. Okay, let them go. There are a lot of looky-loos. There are also a lot of people who have had horrible experiences with realtors, and they don't want nothing to do with you. So don't make it a worse experience by turning into the used car salesperson, right?
My horrible experience with my realtor was my motivation behind getting licensed.
Mine too.
I
I
felt
love
like I
it.
saw such a big opportunity. I'm like, wow, if this lady can be so popular and such a praised realtor and just sucks so bad at her job, imagine what somebody as awesome as me could look like.
That's right. I love that. Yeah. How did you get? I have this question sometimes. Okay. Know your team stats. If you're on a team, know your market center stats, know the market stats. Understand different types of personalities.
How do we find out our market stats and especially like, I'm under the impression that this office has above average stats. But how do I,
Keller Williams as a whole.
Keller Williams
But
as a
yes, we
whole,
have great stats.
but how do I find that? Because I actually was just looking that up yesterday.
Yeah, talk to Amy, she'll help you find it. I always look to Amy as my guide to tech. Anything tech, anything office numbers, anything rules, and she's not always the default person, but she's who I'm comfortable going to. And like community, all of those, like county, state, our MLS is all SMEDRA. You can go to SMEDRA website and find the stats there. Things like understanding personality types, that takes time. But you have to also do the homework. Like some of it's experience, some of it is reading, some of it is just intentional observation. I coached before, so it's become innate in me to slow down enough to pay attention is really what it is. And then to mirror, because when you mirror what somebody else is doing, it's easier for them to trust in the connection with you. If you're not mirroring, there's gonna be a lack of trust, I can almost guarantee it. Have something to offer your visitors. What's something you could offer at an open house?
Cookies.
What else?
A one sheet on the neighborhood, if you have the time to prepare it,
Yes,
a little trifold, highlights of the neighborhood,
yes, value, right?
branded to you, of course,
Absolutely, 100%, with all your contact information on it.
like a trifold, something you could have, whatever, 100 of printed out real quick.
Absolutely. Or here, let me text this to you, right? Whatever your nature is, whatever tools you're gonna use, those are the ones that are gonna work best for you, right? This is cool. Capture information and qualified leads. Command, 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 command. Seriously, take the time to learn this tool. It is priceless. And it continues to evolve and expand. Sometimes it's frustrating, as all technology is. It is worth the hours that you will spend learning it. So use command. There's all these automated features in command. Use the KW app. That's something that you can also send to them. Hey, I'm gonna quick send you my app. Did you get it? Cool. And you need their phone number to send them the app, just saying. And then tell me your name real quick. and then capture it, however it is that you need to capture their information. But now then with your app installed in their phone, they have a direct connection to you that is branded to you in that app.
So you have to take the time to set up your website and your app and all that stuff. That's one of my biggest downfalls of being a new agent is I cannot seem to filter through the mountain of shit that's in front of me
There's so much.
to make my website. Like right now, I feel like such a schmuck because I don't even know how to log into my website, let alone I'm terrified that somebody goes there and sees the awesome thing that Keller set up for me that just makes me look like such a lame agent because I put nothing on there ever.
Okay, I have a solution.
That's why I said last Friday, I said we should do like a workshop where we just come in and we all have our computers, we got all this set up, just get it knocked out.
Thank you. 100%.
Were you gonna
The
say
solution-
that?
The solution is sit your tush down and make yourself do it. If this is what you want to do and you want to use those resources, you need to designate that time out of your life.
I need an admin.
No, you need to learn how to do it. Do you know why? Because your admin, your first one will last 5 days. Your next one will last a month. Your next one might last 3 months.
She's been
And
putting up on
every
my shit for
time,
27
You're gonna
years.
have to teach them how to do it. She's what?
She's been putting up on my shit for 27 years. I'm getting my
Okay.
wife licensed right now, so.
Well, don't make her crazy with website. You learn it.
So, but that is coming. I was talking to Ricky last week and we are going to do that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Good.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that's a concern. Like,
Since you're talking about websites and everything, since I just came in, I had to make a phone call, but
yeah,
when you look at the websites, like I have Wix is my website with my campaign, and I found that one to be pretty good. I initially had a website designer set it up,
Yeah.
and I took ownership, and I've been able to start learning pretty easier. It's different than my children's book website, which I think was done through WordPress, and I have someone who handles that, and I've tried to go in. WordPress is like
you've done all
super
these
complicated.
fun things. And so you've already forced yourself to get really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna say.
So what do we
You
use?
have to get uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm plenty uncomfortable. I'm trying.
What's
That's
the,
good. I'm gonna pull you forward through it. We're gonna do it together.
what does KW use? Because I haven't gone in and looked at
So
it.
it's not like, it's not a on another platform, it's their own. They completely customize and program this specifically for KW. But it's drag and drop, just like Wix. And so you have to get past the discomfort of going in and looking at it the first time. You have to get past the discomfort of going in and looking at it the fifth time. You have to actually push buttons and realize nothing's gonna blow up. It's not gonna be the end of the world. You cannot break it to the point where they can't fix it. Okay, but it's there, and I love that they're gonna walk through it with you, but it is such a valuable tool because of things like the lead capture pages.
So it is an IDX website.
It is an IDX website, and if you were to use Wix, you'd have to set the IDX up through that website, and all that costs money, and you have to pay somebody to do it, it's super techy.
Is that Nick talking?
Yeah.
Nick, I was just gonna say, this goes back to what I told you last week. Scott Leroy Marketing, I just watched this on Sunday. There's a 48-minute video about how to set up different landing pages through KW Command and how to add additional pages that allow you to import and export various, like you can use different widgets that they have in the agent store. Like there are so many things. If you just sit down and watch that video, like maybe put it on one computer or laptop and then do it on another, like it is so intuitive and it takes you through everything. I haven't done it myself. Like I haven't really messed with my website, but yeah, I felt like I should tell you that again because I don't know, it seemed to really, really help me. I mean, you can do everything in KW Command.
Keep telling me, dude, because I just feel so overwhelmed every time I look at any of it. And honestly, it's why I haven't, you're like the 7th agent that's been like, you want to do an open house? I'm like, yeah, I totally want to do an open house, but I know me. If I was to meet somebody at an open house, one of the first things I would do is Google them. Because I'm like, what kind of person is this? Might I do business with this person?
Okay.
Right?
Is
And
it
so if you Google me and you'll
everybody-
find the
Oh,
other
let me
Nick
ask you
Connolly
this.
that has a huge criminal rap sheet,
Okay.
right? And then
Okay.
that's not me. I always specify Nicholas William Connolly, that's me. But I feel like my web presence does not represent my fire.
Okay.
So for me to point people in that direction makes me just not pass my information on to anybody. So it's a major hurdle for me that I need to get across.
Okay, so let me just insert something, okay? What I'm hearing, because have you taken any action to resolve that obstacle?
I tried to do the Marty Miller 60-day challenge thing and found it to be incredibly frustrating because the command updates come out way faster than the Marty Miller updates.
Okay.
So, no, I mean, yes and no. No, I haven't taken it seriously enough to like, one of my problems is I have another business where there's a real simple formula. I put in time, I make money.
Okay.
This one is like, I have to put in time, put in time, put in time, put in time, and I haven't made very much money from it yet, but I gotta keep putting in time. And so it's hard for me as I wake up in the morning, I'm like, how am I gonna allocate my time today? Should I allocate my time to where I can make $1,000 today, or should I allocate my time to where I'm gonna, spend 8 hours cursing at my computer and feel like I've gotten nowhere because it's just day one of 1,000 of those days that I need to put in to filter through all of the stuff.
Okay. You have two different pathways that your energy and time is going. The pathway where you have a direct result, time equals money. And then there's this other pathway that's in front of you. Which one has a limit to it?
Oh, the one where I can make easy money every day absolutely has a cap. And it's way lower than the cap I can make in real estate. That's why I'm here. I can make so much more money in real estate than I will ever make in my collectibles business.
Okay.
But there's an immediate, we live in the Instagram, immediate, like 1 second of attention gets you some kind of gratification
Sure.
existence. So it's a hurdle I'm discussing mostly because I can't imagine I'm alone
Oh, you're
in
not
that,
alone
in
at
that
all.
other new agents are trying to figure out how to build their machine. Cause I will tell you, I sat for almost an hour with Michael after Ignite on Friday.
Yeah.
And that guy's system is so dialed in that I feel like he's just sitting there waiting for someone to ping his website. He's like, boop, hi, I saw you were looking at houses in Bear Valley.
I totally feel that way whenever I walk by his office.
Yeah, and so like, I'm like, okay, I see it. I see it happening. I know it's possible,
Yes.
but focus,
How many
determination,
years, how many years has he been doing it?
many, 27, I think he
Okay.
said.
Do you think that his first 1, 2,
Oh, yeah.
3 were like that?
Not at all, but I will say that he did verify what I said, when I said, my website's a joke, I don't have an Instagram page, like, get all that shit done before you start pushing people to your world.
Okay, so now I'm gonna help you navigate,
Yeah.
because I have to have you guys done by 1:30.
Yeah.
So I just heard you say that if you got all that done,
Oh,
you
yeah.
would be able to move forward with real estate.
Oh, yeah, that's my biggest hurdle.
Okay, how many different pieces does all that contain?
It's a bunch.
Website,
Which,
social media. That's
each of those things, though, it's like a drop-down menu full of files that
right,
needs to be
of
dealt
course,
with, right?
but we're gonna keep it focused here, okay? So website contains multiple things. Social
Marketing.
media contains multiple things.
I view like hard paper marketing stuff, you're designing your buyer or seller presentations, all those kind of
Okay,
things.
so you still have to do all those as well, right?
Right.
Okay, but those are second because you have to put the website
Right,
on those things. Okay, so now we're pulling back a little bit. Priority is website, right? What's one thing that you need to do in order to move forward with your website?
I'm supposed to do it this week, where it's a picture they take of you,
Okay,
your headshot.
okay, get a headshot now.
I'm anti-headshot.
But did you sign up for the headshot? No, okay, how are you gonna get a headshot?
Probably not in an office, probably somewhere outside, because I'm more of an outside kind of guy.
Okay, you have a phone with the camera?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and there's these beautiful flowers up front?
Yeah.
Can you guys do that
My
at
wife is
lunch?
my wife is all about it. She's like, we're going to the
Yeah.
park.
Can you do that at lunch?
Well, I got it. My wife is literally
I
trying
know.
to do it today. We're going up to the
Okay,
mountains
okay.
today to do it.
That's
for
what
the
I'm
park.
looking for. Can you post that on the Facebook group after this?
She is why I want her to be on my team as my co-conspirator, because she's like in the moment, let's get it done right now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm such a big thinker that I'm already thinking about my 10 mansions I'm gonna own. And she's like, no, we just need 2 more rental properties. Let's dial it back into what's the next one we're buying. you know?
Right. And so I've got to pull back on track, but I'm gonna hold you to getting a picture done today.
Yeah, I'll send
And
you
then
a
I'm
picture.
gonna hold you to
I'll send you
talking
an
to,
awesome picture of me later.
right on. And then I'm gonna hold you to talking to Amy later.
Yeah.
So that we can get that website rolling forward.
Well, I like what, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, bud. Dave, yeah, I like what Dave said about, let's all bring our laptops in and have like I did that one day where I came in here and we had.
Yeah, because you can get it all knocked out, get the experts here, show you how to do, and it's just like quick, so.
We're just gonna do a quick, well, no, I want to talk a little bit about pursuing the leads that we've been collecting. So we've talked about all these different ways we're gonna capture leads, different ways to communicate with these potential leads. We've talked about building relationships and building trust and how to create the environment and how to advertise and market for it. You know, my dumb dog had me up at 3 o'clock this morning, and there is nothing worse in the world than having 5 hours of sleep before you teach. Okay.
You're doing great.
Thank you. So you're gonna wanna start, once you have all these leads, you come home, you have your book and it's full, or you have your phone and it's full of 5 people, 1 person, 10 people, 30 people, right? That part we can't control. All we can control is our actions. So we get our results. We're gonna do something with that result. We're gonna put these people in our database in commands, new clients, as much information as we have captured. Then we are going to follow up with every person who walks through that door, whether they're in the industry, outside of the industry, the neighbor, somebody who just walked by, right? Interested in buying or selling or not. I do handwritten cards. Thank you for coming by. It was really nice to meet you. Send them my business card. I also put these little things that you open up and it has a cute little message in it. Reevaluate the goals that you set. Why do we go back and look at the goals that we set after the open house?
Yeah, you're doing.
Yeah, did you succeed? And if not, what needs to change for you to succeed next time? Were your goals relevant? I mean, if you've never done an open house before and you set these goals and all of a sudden you do this open house, afterwards, it's, I don't know what I was thinking, right? Reevaluate, set a different set of goals next time, get up and do it again. Right. In Command, you can set the SMART plans, which are these really cool automated newsletter type things that come into their inbox or use Twilio and set it on a system of time or systematically in a timely manner they're getting followed up with. So they don't forget who you are. Invite them to other events. Got a Halloween trick or treat streak coming up. It's a great opportunity. Okay, so let's recap just a little bit. We talked about best practices for open house. We talked about benefits of open houses. We talked about preparing, prospecting, and pursuing those leads. We've talked about quite a bit already. Has talking about this changed your thinking?
It's expanded on it. I'm already excited to try and I'm definitely have a lot of ideas of ways I can make open houses a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's a win for me. Anybody else? What's your idea?
Also to Nick's point, I think just getting on KW Command, like, I mean, I feel like in the younger age kind of bracket, so I just have fun like exploring things online. But like KW Command, I felt the same way, super overwhelmed and like, what am I doing and what am I supposed to click on and how do I go about building this and that? But like just playing around, I'm currently like designing this stuff for my open house on Saturday, and like the whole design feature allows you to plug and play. You can like add in snapshots of neighborhoods. You just type in a neighborhood and like all of the things that you actually can utilize on KW Command. Yes, it is overwhelming, but it's almost like it's at your ready. It's literally being given to you and you can utilize it for your business and your success and for listing houses and etc. I don't know, I just wanted to say that.
I love that. I'm really glad for that. Command has so many cool tools. Command. If you can, I'm on my 3rd year and still every time I go in there, and I'm really comfortable with social media and technology for being 50. At that place because
Did you say for being 50?
runs over me. Yes, I'm 50.
Wow, I would have
This year.
never guessed that.
Thank you. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter.
Oh my gosh, Tammy, you look like you're thriving.
I am thriving. Thank you. I am
You look like-
thriving because I get to build the life that I want to live every single day and execute every day. Every single day, I get up and do things. I call it eat the frog. Do the hard thing first, and then I get to do the fun things. Thank you for saying that. You made my day.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I've been
true.
working on me a lot lately. I've had a lot of healing to do. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about social media. It's really important because a lot of people ask about it. Not everybody is as comfortable with it as I am, and many people, especially younger generations, are very, very, very comfortable with working on social media. Oh, I guess. Here we are, just brand new. Look at that. We're gonna talk about the opportunities with social media.
I think my day was just made. Zillow just followed me on Instagram.
What?
That's pretty good.
How did you do that? What did they follow? What did they like?
I don't know. I just saw Zillow with the blue check mark and I was like, wait, what? Are we serious?
Dude, do you follow them?
No, I don't even want to now.
You're a rock star.
Yeah.
Way to go. I'm proud of you for that. I'm still learning Instagram.
See, that's, there's something said for what Zach's been doing, just jumping in and doing it,
Yes.
you know, and I think that's a you know, something for all of us. You just jump in and do it.
Yes.
You don't, because you're never gonna have all the answers.
And it's not always gonna be perfect.
But it's all just putting yourself out there.
Yeah, 100%. We used to call, in coaching, we call it perfection, procrastination. It was,
Oh, it can be a huge limitation.
it's incredibly limiting. And as much as it is with good intention, it creates such a huge roadblock because there is no way to even know what's perfect until you're doing it. And you always have to be willing to take a step forward and
Or mess up and fail and learn from it and get better.
yeah, fail forward, right, yeah. So I love this. It takes time to learn something, more time to implement it, and even longer to approach mastery of it. Social media is one of those things. And back when I was working, back up, when I achieved my certificate of coaching, the idea was to go out and build a practice helping people launch toward their goals in lifestyle and health and nutrition, okay? After 3 months after graduating, I was invited to work with their coaches and help them launch their businesses. So I had a 2-part coaching business that was both teaching people how to launch their businesses and teaching people how to build their lifestyles. And we always used to get caught up in social media and putting ourselves out there. Real estate and coaching are like this. They're very, very similar platforms, similar concepts, similar ways of building our business. And so we use a lot of the same tools then as we do now in real estate. And social media, technology, pre-built websites, done for you programs, all of these things, they take time to learn. If you've never had to lean on them for anything before and you're needing to lean on them now, it's going to take a hot minute to adjust to those tools, right? And so, does anybody in here use, aside from Zach, does anybody in here use social media for building your business?
My other business has been built mostly through social media, but I've never applied it to real estate. I have to create a whole new web presence for my real estate self. I'm excited about it, 'cause I
Yeah,
see the power of it.
yeah, for sure. Different persona, a little bit different vibe, right?
I mean, I'm still me,
Yeah,
but it's definitely a different pitch. It's a different interest set, you know? I'm really excited about the part of it that's like helping people to wrap their mind around, oh, you paid $1,500 a month in rent, you wasted 18 grand last year.
yeah,
I got X amount in appreciation, plus I paid off X amount of my mortgage, so I'm sitting here $30,000 richer and you're $18,000 poorer,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, what an eye-opening conversation, right?
That's a $48,000 swing in our comparable wealth.
Yeah. Those are great ways to initiate emotional response. I mean, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
People that kind of- So in this social media portion, we're gonna talk about using this in a 10-5-1 engagement system, posting, building a posting practice. What are some social media strategies? And then we're gonna back up and recap. This is such a powerful marketing tool. I mentioned earlier when we were talking a little bit that most of my business building, I did very, very slim shoestring type of budget sort of things, because there's no real reason to do it any other way. You don't have to spend all that money, right? And if you can't spend all that money, it shouldn't stop. And so being able to use a very free, very public, highly engaged and attended platform, social media is the one, right? Expand your sphere with your smartphones. So you have social media, you have a smartphone. Does everybody have a smartphone in here? One kind or another?
I hope no one's got a flip phone these days.
They're coming back.
They
dude.
try, yes, they're
They're
trying to make
trying
them come back.
And quite honestly, if I could get my 16-year-old online, that's where we're going next. And you can use it to engage your followers, right? That's the whole point. So you build, most of the people who are super, super big on social media are not people who just show up and post about themselves and like stop there. These are people who have conversations and they lift other people and they invite people to participate, right? It's all about engagement, just like it is in person.
They don't even report.
I'm just peeking forward. Okay, so I love this. Okay, good. So engagement on social media is really easy. What social media platforms do you use right now for personal, not even for business?
Instagram and TikTok and Facebook.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook,
Instagram and Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you can make cool little videos now.
TikTok.
Okay, TikTok. Are you comfortable on TikTok?
I don't like all the crap with TikTok, but I like being able to put like little videos and I share them on Instagram. That's
Okay.
how I've been using it.
Yeah.
So I like the creation, the creative factor of TikTok, but I don't like the feed that comes through TikTok. It's just annoying. You know, it's just.
You're not
So much
scrolling
garbage.
TikTok.
What's that?
So much garbage, so many
Yeah,
distractions.
it seems like a lot of garbage on TikTok, but I do like how creative TikTok is, what you can
Yes.
do from a creative. point.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So you guys are gonna get together and teach a TikTok class later?
Yeah.
That's one Tammy's not done yet. Okay.
Either.
I actually avoid it because I have a 16-year-old son, and so I'm not gonna be on it and then tell him he can't be on it. But there's been horrible things affiliated with TikTok, not interested. How many posts do you like per day on your social media platforms? How engaged are you just personally? Not even with business.
I think I stalk people on Instagram, so definitely like probably 100 to 200 people a day.
And do you like them? Are you engaging with it in some way?
Yeah, sometimes I like double tap on photos. Sometimes I like heart other people's messages, and sometimes that actually brings in direct message. You know, the
Yes.
quote unquote slide in my DMs. Sorry if that's a little inappropriate. But then also like reels are a really good way. If you double tap on Instagram reels, the algorithm changes instead of like a static post. So it puts your profile out into the people you may know. And that's when other people get really creative and they start just clicking, you know, add friend, add friend, add friend.
Next time we teach a social media class, you are required to attend in person.
I'll be there.
Okay, so what he just said is that when you engage, it changes the algorithm so that you are seen more. All you have to do is engage, okay? Make it a goal, 10. If I can be on Facebook for 5 minutes, I can like 10 posts.
Which is funny because I'm on there, I just don't
Just scroll.
engage, I scroll, exactly. That needs to do more engagement.
How creative, what does KW have? Like, how creative are we allowed to be to develop our own brand? You know, even though
I have
KW is
my own
here.
brand.
Okay,
I love that you asked.
so we
that.
can be like Frank Azar, the strong arm.
Totally.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing, KW always has to be over here.
Okay.
Right? Like, all of my stuff is me
Right.
and KW.
Okay.
Right? And it depends on the day. Sometimes I'm like so strapped that I'm like, I can't do all this. Okay, I can't do it all. Then it's just KW. And it's okay, because then it's still a consistent message, right? And my platforms are all already branded, right? It already has my logo, it already has my face, you know,
Do you have your own personal logo?
I do.
Okay,
It took me, I just got that done this last year.
okay,
I had to really wrap my head around the real estate dynamic.
right.
And do I want to have a business name, or do I want to keep my own name, or am I ever gonna build a team? You know, all the rabbit holes. It's the same as you guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
And I just picked path and just decided, you know, if it changes down the road, it changes down the road, it's okay.
Can you create your own name, have a different name, a business name, or you have to keep your own name? Cool. Yeah, these
There
are
are a lot of rules around it though, so definitely
There are rules.
get aware of what
Yeah,
those rules
exactly.
are.
We have a branding guide in the resource kit.
Okay.
It tells you how KW has to show up in your stuff. And there are DORA rules, I think DORA is what set these rules.
Right.
So you have to follow those.
Just don't trademark.
Say that again?
I said, just don't trademark. I literally just did that on a slogan of mine and it came out. It literally came out. I forgot about federal filing fees and it came out to like 500, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so yeah, and you can trademark if you intend to stay in it for a very long time. I just don't know if when you're first starting your business,
Right.
that's the time to do it, because you
Seems-
will grow and evolve.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like as you build up, then, then you can slide over to that.
And it's like your personality, you know, the people you attract, what your specialties become, which I'm a Gemini, so I'm like, all the things. And then I'm like, shake, 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 2 things. Just 2 things. And then my attention's over here anyway most of the time, so that's so. So what they're doing here is they're giving you a formula for success on social media. 10 likes. Then take your engagement to the next level. Start commenting. Comments create conversation. If you have a social media platform for personal, do you notice when people comment on your posts? Pay attention? Of course. Of course.
Like a crackhead, my phone makes an alert, I'm like, ooh, who said?
Yeah, right,
who said
exactly.
something?
But the only reason we post
No,
anything is because we
I-
want people to pay attention and comment on it. Look at how awesome I am.
Yeah,
Totally. That's what social media is completely built on.
It is.
Right?
it's addictive.
It's a
too.
very vain.
So if you can learn how to tap
Concept.
into other people's addictive traits, yeah. Content is a big one though. Building the right content for your audience is big.
Don't overthink it. And here's why. Every day that I show up, I learn something, I eat something, I parent, I have pets, and I live in the community that I serve. So if I drive someplace, if I shop someplace, if I eat someplace, if I'm paying attention to the stats in my area, I have content. And it's, look what I'm doing, because that's what social media is. Look what I'm doing. The difference is now it's, I said this too, it's supposed to be 80% personal, 20% business. Mine's like, I don't have a social life, so, 95% business, 5% personal, but it's still work. But it's because the way I do business isn't, stiff and rigid in numbers. My tribe doesn't like that. My tribe likes glitter and Gemini thinking all over the place. And so I offer value in numbers and in factual data, and then I follow it up with a unicorn.
Right.
But this is what I'm doing, right? What's your real estate journey? Are you sharing your real estate journey? Are you doing home improvements? Have you been hanging out with other professionals in the industry? I have a networking group. with about my networking group often, and the gifts and talents that they bring to the industry.
Like, I just created my LLC. You can bet your butt, I posted about that on my social media, the Zen, whatever the website that I used for that, I posted it on my social media.
Perfect.
Because it's
Yes,
some sort of engagement, right? Like, hey,
Yes.
maybe somebody else will find value in that.
yes, That's
I
right.
have done that, create the LLC, that's something that's on my list to do as well.
Or like sat on a patio and had a beer at a place down the street from me. Hey, community, this place is awesome. They've got a great happy hour. Come check it out.
Right.
Nothing to do with real estate, but it's about the community, right?
exactly.
So,
It's, Ryan Davis said it, and he's another one of my mentors indirectly, maybe unintentionally, but always asking him questions, and he is so, his energy is where I'm going, to a degree. He said, do what you love, do it often, and share it. That's it, do what you love. What Ricky bowls, you know, he's on a bowling league, he loves to bowl. You know, now he's had changes in his life in the last couple of years, he's been sharing changes, becoming a grandparent, you know. I'm a creative person, I love to share creativity, I love like refinishing furniture, and I share the furniture that I've done. We're in the process of building a house right now, and I've been sharing about it a year before we broke ground, because the process starts much earlier than groundbreaking. And I'm sharing about it because it's relevant and it's personal, right? And they get to know me through that journey. Right? I have a 4-pound Maltese. I share about her. She's adorable. I have a 7-pound Morkie who is a pain in my tush. And I share about it. You know, and people like, follow, comment. And because I'm an introvert, that is my pathway to the community around me. And I have made more really good friends. I've gained so much confidence. If it wasn't for the trails that I took down social media, I would not be able to stand up in front of you and talk today, because it was social media that led me down all of the paths to do things that I never thought I would do, right? Last piece to this 10-5-1, 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 at least. You're going to share someone else's post. So that's this little doohickey right here, right? You're going to send them a message directly, and you're going to friend somebody, okay? When I share a post from someone else, this can go in multiple different ways, but you can say, hey, thanks to, and tag that original person who you're sharing it from for sharing this, and then share your own thoughts on it. Don't ever just share and leave it on your page and not have a comment. If you comment, that's what creates the connection with you. If you're only sharing, then you're creating connection with them. Does that make sense?
Now, the polling in your race,
Sorry,
and it hasn't gotten a lot of attention because a
Go
lot of
away.
people.
All right, politician in the room.
It's
Showing
like,
your-
go away
showing
and
your
stop.
political colors here. Okay,
Kimmy, can I add something on that?
please.
So I'm getting a coffee with a lender on Friday morning, but I've been like just dabbling my toes like into what you're saying, basically messaging other people and whether they're friends, just people that are looking for homes, or other agents, lenders, appraisers. And I've been getting various different feedback from it. And one thing that I've found in common from successful agents that I've been talking to is partner with other professionals in the industry, whether they're mortgage, brokers or lenders or title representatives or what have you, and advertise, put things together and partner together, because I mean, that's how you can bring in referrals. That's how you can build a network or a database with other like-minded individuals in the industry. So yeah.
Yes, and it can totally be easier on social media than it is in person, right? You can build your relationship and rapport with these professional partners through social media very easily. I'm going to give an example of what I've done. I built a Facebook community. So start a Facebook group from your business page. And in that Facebook group, my intention is not just to post listings. My intention in that group is to educate and empower consumers. And I invited the people who are in the local networking groups to start. And then I invited them to do a Zoom interview with me. And we recorded it and we put it on YouTube. So I gave value to the person who's sharing the space with me. I gave value to the people who are sharing the space in the Facebook community. And I expanded my tribe by having the Facebook community as a public community that's open to anybody, right? I created a resource list of all of the professionals that I've met over the last 3 years, where they can post their business information in there. And I invite them to post 1 time a week, page, so long as it brings value. The moment they get spammy, they're out. Without question, because the rules are clearly written, big and green. So I have like zero gap for that, because I don't have time to moderate like that. But it takes this idea and shows you how you can infuse that into the way that you're connecting in social media. Okay? And it all starts with the 10-5-1. 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 share, 1 friend, 1 what was the other one? Post, share someone else's post. Oh, direct message. Oh, let's talk about direct messages. Oh. Have you ever gotten one of those direct messages? Yeah. The ones that you go, oh my God, I cannot believe you just shared that. And now we're going to delete it and block you forever. Right? Or what is that link? It's kind of like, it looks like it might be one of my friends. And if I click on this link, it might totally blow up my computer, right? So that's what people are used to getting, and that's the filter that they're looking at their messages with. If you've never met somebody, don't immediately start marketing to them. Relationships are always first, 100%. And so when you are direct messaging somebody you've never met, the very first thing that I do is say, hey, thanks for connecting with me. I appreciate your time and energy. Back up. If you really want to use this as a tool, create a routine around touching base with them. My whole business is built on social media. And so if I can do it, I know you guys can too, without being as good at it as Zach is, right? Without understanding it completely. You just remember to be tactful and classy and also real.
Yeah, guys, just don't think I'm like a know-it-all at social media. I've just loved dabbling in it and like throwing myself into the challenge. I hope that I don't come off like, cocky or anything. I love social media. Like it's such a powerful tool, and I wish like, when Nick talks about it, I'm like, man, I like want to sit down with you and just like show you certain things that I know that might be benefit. Like I love talking about social
Let's
media.
go get a coffee, dude.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. I'm down to sit down with like, we should just make one big group.
Maybe you guys should do a mastermind time.
Yeah.
Once a week, get together and just do your own thing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, all this could be like part of the whole workshop where we get everything set up with you guys who are already experts. And we can just, it can be fluid. It doesn't have to be kind of like, but get the command set up, get the website set up, get the Facebook set up, all that. And then, Zach can come in there and kind of like talk a little bit what he's done with. It's just us working there. It's like that study group.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And Ricky does this mastermind on Mondays over the phone. You can do the same thing for yourself and you can do it here.
Yeah, I think it's better to come in here with your computer and be ready to go, try to do it all versus Zoom or on a phone call, because you can get it all done, get the questions answered.
Yeah.
You go through it, you keep your passwords, you set all that type of stuff up, you're good to go.
The other thing about being here is usually there's somebody here who, if you get to a point where you're like,
Exactly.
none of us get this thing, somebody's probably going to be here to walk you through it.
I mean, if we could plan it far enough ahead of time, we could get Amy on board, because she would be here to answer any tech questions. You could get Zach here, who's obviously spent many more hours on social media than any of us. You could have whatever, everybody could be here contributing what they have to bring to the table, and people who don't feel like they have a contribution would certainly benefit from a sit down like that. It may, at the end of it, feel like they could contribute at the next thing,
Totally. And we all need to do it, even experienced agents need a mastermind. It's about being human and continuously learning and evolving and being better. It's great. It's great to come together in this community. It's really something that is one of the reasons why I joined here, is the culture community. And this particular office, I just love the leadership that we have here and their commitment to our success and our readiness to be involved. And the continuous supply of tools, not perfectly, imperfectly, because they're human, right? But realizing it's at a pace that I can consume, just continue to grow. 80-20 posting practice. So I mentioned this is a rule all the way across the board. Everybody teaches this with social media. It should be 80% personal, because really the reason why people are on social media is to get to know humans, right? It's a perfect platform for introverts, where you have the opportunity to connect and engage and learn about other people and see all of these cool experiences people are having in their lives. And you get FOMO, you're missing out a little bit, and it pushes you to do that thing, right? 20% business. It's more consumable, they won't feel sold to. And when I do business, I try to do on my personal, and I do it on my personal page. I only do strictly business most of the time on my business page. And personal, 80% on my personal page and 20% business. I try not having, it's mostly business. But the way that I do business is it's just relevant to real estate. It doesn't necessarily have to be numbers every single day, right? It's like I'm building a house, or look, as a real estate agent, look at where I went. Do you all know where Perry Park is? It's like west of Castle Rock. Maybe like 15 minutes, 20 minutes west of Castle Rock. Up in the hills, it's kind of this little tucked away community. It's all luxury homes. They're on a little bit of acreage. It's like old Colorado town feel. It's just so cool up there. And it's really pretty. Like the trees are gorgeous. There's tons of deer everywhere. There's turkeys everywhere. So of course, every time I go up there, I'm taking photos and videos from the car and like setting up the phone, balancing, and I'm like, don't hit any bugs, don't hit any bugs, since I'm video recording the trees coming by, just the beautiful, and then I post it on Instagram. Look at where I got to be today. So I'm talking about showing homes, selling homes, right? Being in a new community, this place that I found. If you've never been here and you want to look at it, here's the link to the neighborhood. Right. Okay. Personal interest posts. When you post on social media, what do you post about?
My life.
What about your life?
Yeah, what's interesting about that is I post about my life, but it varies day to day. And honestly, the reason I never post the same thing, whether it's on stories or in reels or like an actual post, is because people, there's so many people in the world. Yes, the algorithm, changes and it targets various people or different people, but people relate to what you have to post. And so the more personable you are on social media, I feel like I'm going on a rant here, but the more personable you are and the more that you share about, whether it's not just real estate, but maybe like a coffee shop you went to, or maybe you went to see an art museum, like people relate to that. And that's what intrigues people and brings them in. And,
You ever hear the phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe? If you're not letting your authentic self show through, who are you attracting? Right? A lot of times, this is why it's really important to be yourself in your business and just be authentic in you and genuinely show up. T-shirt, jeans, comfy, whatever. Or maybe you are suit, jacket, heels, hair done to the hilt, whatever it is. Be you. Show up as you. Don't try to talk like somebody else, act like somebody else. There's a little bit of a balance between fake it till you make it, as far as learning scripts and language that you wouldn't normally use. and trying to be Ryan Davis or trying to be Ricky Garris, right? If it's inauthentic, people smell it. You're gonna be uncomfortable, it's not gonna work, and it's the same with social media. So don't prop your photos, be real, because that's how people connect with you. That's how people view you. Your values can show up. Your value system shows up in social media, right? Your priorities show up in social media. And if you're being authentic and real and showing your personal life on social media, so you're cooking, art, pets, kids, live music, outdoor adventures, blah, 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 what the house that you're building, the house that you're selling, the open house that you're doing, and where you went hiking. People get an idea, they get your vibe, it comes through. And when you work with people who resonate with your vibe, clients become more organic and natural. People have greater trust, and it's easier for them to invest, right? When you ask them to trust you and allow you to be a part of their journey, they're more likely to see.
And those are pretty safe things too, that people resonates with people. You're not saying anything controversial. Even running for office, I don't say anything stupid.
This is really,
I don't say anything politically charged. I will post pictures of me knocking homes. I'll talk about how many homes I've knocked or stuff like that. Or if it's like, obviously we just had Labor Day, happy Labor Day, that type of stuff. Juneteenth, those type of things. And the members of my party, they're always complaining about the media. The media distorts our words. The media does this, the media attacks us. Well, don't say something stupid. If you don't say something stupid, they have less likely to distort your words.
that's right.
And that doesn't mean there aren't biases or things like that.
Right,
But if you mitigate your stupidity,
yes,
and the same thing in real estate, you want to be careful what you put out there,
yes.
because that can come back at you.
It will come back at you. It's not can, it's going to,
And
100%.
even I would say, and check me if I'm on the wrong path here, but even your friends list,
Yes.
make sure you don't have crazy ass friends, in your
Yeah.
IG or Facebook.
Or have a plan for how you're gonna deal with them when they show up, because they will also show up.
I mean, liability mitigation is the number one thing that any business owner is managing.
Yeah.
Besides marketing and personality and
100%.
whatever, but liability mitigation is a huge part of being a business owner.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I paid $150,000 in fines for a mistake one of my employees made in a past life.
Ouch.
That was a big, that was a big ouch.
And social media is so easy, right? People will say things that they're thinking and feeling without a filter. And people get very hurt. And it can be very damaging.
Keyboard
Yeah.
warriors, man. People feel empowered
Keyboard
when they're not sitting there with somebody to actually retort them face to face.
Yes.
People get out of control.
And it's interesting too, because it also depends on the type of business that you're in. When I was coaching early on, I used to create and facilitate that on my Facebook page. So when I came into real estate, people kept trying to initiate certain conversations. Being able to slow it down and diffuse it and just, I always try to come at everything with love. So it was like just really kind of, you all can talk about this, be calm, centered, thoughtful, considerate, and you can use my platform for this conversation so long as we're adults. The moment one of you starts spiking off, you're done, and we've had brilliant conversations and people have wonderful realizations and it builds really deep trusting relationships because we have really interesting conversations sometimes. But they have really tapered off because it's not as exciting because I put a nip, a nip it if it starts getting kind of wonky. So that slowed down quite a bit. So it's a lot more like this.
Well, it's interesting to see this too, because this is really what builds people. I keep having conversations with my daughter, like, be about something. Who are you? What are you about? Like, what is it that you identify with in life? And something that's really, you're in a political race of some sort, but I'm like blown away. The past 5 or 6 years, I'm 46 years old, so I've been aware of adult topics for a long time. But I feel like I have so many friends that their only identity in the past few years is their political
Oh,
persuasion.
yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
I'm like, dude, remember you're in a band that I love. Like, what's up with your gigs? You haven't promoted one of your gigs in like 2 years, you know?
Well, that's the extremism of both parties.
It's
Is
over the
what
top.
has taken over this country.
I've become
Yeah.
apolitical because I'm so sick of politics.
Well, but the
You
thing
know.
is, as you know, as we all know in this room, 80% of our society is in the middle.
Right.
Is a centrist and objective. And people who are centrist and objectives, candidates, don't make the news.
Right,
And, you know, it's the crazies from both parties that make the news.
right.
saying
The
stupid stuff.
extremists.
That's salacious to
And
me.
I remember
Middle
one
of the
candidate, oh my God, I remember one candidate back, we were having like a leadership kind of like this for all the candidates who were running our party. And they were complaining about the media, don't trust this particular newspaper, don't trust this particular one, because this particular reporter went on their Facebook site and found all the stuff they said about the 2020 election and used it against them. I'm like, well, why did you put all that stuff on your fucking website? I mean, if you know, if you don't say stupid stuff, people won't say stupid things about you.
Especially in
I
our
mean,
day.
this is like, you know, and one thing I was going to add about what you had up there, which I think is really good. We've used my dogs in a lot of our campaign stuff, and I've had top consultants, you know, that I'm paying for, who've been in the Colorado State House, Colorado State Senate, tell me pictures of hiking, pictures of dogs, your dogs, be natural, be who you are, just get that out there.
Right.
And even my campaign manager, we just shot a commercial that's going on, like, you know, smart TVs, smartphones, that type of stuff. It's not, you know, airtime or anything like that, but it just goes to IP addresses. But my dog is sitting right beside of me. Right. And he goes, we want the dog. And the guy who was shooting, good friend of mine, he was doing the video. He asked my campaign manager, we're on a three-way call. He's like, why dogs? Why dogs? Why would you want a dog? Because he doesn't have a dog. And my campaign manager said, a dog elicits trust and authenticity, and it causes people to want to like you. Right. And so it's a one thing, if you have pets or children or anything like that, use that on your real estate.
Well, and that's that last slide where you had the list of things that can really show someone who you are.
Yeah.
I feel like it created an awareness for me. I have shut down sharing who I am
Okay.
over the past year or two because I'm so sick of all, like, so much social media bullying or battling, or you post something that you feel one way or another about, and all of a sudden you have 10 negative comments. I'm just so sick of the negativity that our society has gone through.
Yes.
That it's like refreshing for me to be like, oh yeah, I love to cook. I should share some of my favorite recipes. I should share some pictures of my dogs. I should, you know, all the things that will engage people in a part of themselves that maybe they've forgotten they should share,
Yeah.
you know?
I love that, and it's a great segue for what I have next, because social media is a tool. We forget that it's a tool, right? But it is a tool. And when used properly and with intention, it can be incredibly powerful. And so this leads me to this one, which is community service. So what if, out of all the posts that you post, if you're very intentional and controlled with your posts, I'm a Gemini, so I just automatically get on there and just post whatever's happening. But one of the other things that I've done is allowed my platform to be a space for giving back. I've done fundraising on there. Around the wildfires, I have friends all over. I'm a native. I have friends all over the state. I work all over the state, so I have clients all over the state. And through social media platform, being engaged and connecting, I'm connected all over the state. So I was reading stories for people who were really struggling and in shock and suddenly had no place to live, and they were losing their animals, and it was hard, right? And my beloved state, you know, my heart just is like, the trees are burning, the houses are burning, the grass is burning. And I move from that space. So I start posting on Facebook, we're gonna do a fundraiser. I connect with KW, you guys, we need to do something. Like, we can't just sit and watch this. We are a powerhouse of connection. And all of a sudden we're fundraising. And then I get a post out on my Facebook page, and there's two parts of it, right? Fulfills me as a human and my need to serve. And people see that, and it sets me apart, right? I get to use my platform that way. Other ways to serve. I am an animal lover to the nth degree, and lover of all things innocent. What do you love? What would you want to protect? or make a difference in. So I regularly post about lost dogs, rescued dogs, particular animal rescues that I have an affinity for, that a percentage of everything that I make goes to support. I don't always announce that, but I do share their posts all the time. Look at these puppies that just came in. Oh my gosh, these guys just came in from the floods, from the hurricane, from the fires. Can you make a difference? And use my community and stir my community in an emotional way that makes a difference. Not about real estate, right? But it also is about real estate because it's about building my community. Right? So it can be a powerful, powerful force. Aha. We're at 10:45. I have 45 minutes left. Anything stand out to you guys there?
Social media is king.
Right? Yes, it is.
I think, again, I'm still sitting here a little stunned at how much, I didn't even realize it. I actually just looked at someone else's Facebook page, because my wife and I last night were having a conversation, like, how are we going to integrate real estate social media with how much we use our current social media platforms for our other business? Because they don't really link together. I mean, I will say that my 2 closes I've had so far are both people from my other business community. So that's good, but I don't think that it would be widely received by that community for me to start flooding real estate stuff onto that platform. So I'm gonna create a whole new presence, but one of the things that I just noticed as I was scrolling on my own Facebook page, 95% of my posts are super impersonal product pictures.
Yep.
And seeing that was like, oh yeah, and it didn't used to be that way. It used to be mostly family. And the other 5% is family. It's pictures of me and my wife or me and my daughter or all 3 of us, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a big, for how much I love animals, for how much energy and effort I put into my dogs and my cat, to not have the general population see that softer side of me, because I'm a big guy. And it's one of the things I'm conscious about constantly is trying to not be an imposing figure in the room.
Yes.
Because I'm a big guy and I definitely have a presence about me when I'm in a space, so something I'm making conscious efforts to do. But that, again, that chart you had up a few slides ago where it was like pets, sporting events, live music. I've seen one band over 200 times. So like for me to have my community not know that about me, or even tap into the community of friends that have seen that band as many times or more than I have, or the fact that I've taken my kid to like 200 concerts,
Right.
because she's been to as many concerts as, well, not as many as I have, but she's been to a lot of concerts, so.
It's part of the culture, around you. That's like your value system and what's important to you. And that is going to attract your tribe. And your tribe is going to be a natural and organic thing as well.
Right.
And so whether they're in the other business or not, it's a lot of the tribe that I had built was from my coaching practice. And I felt really weird about changing an existing platform because I did give up coaching. And so I was like, I'm not gonna start over. And I just switched it over.
Right.
And it was a lot easier.
I don't want to switch over because I don't want to lose my other, like I've spent decades building my other business.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm right now fine tuning all the social media and website stuff for that business.
Right.
So I'm learning a lot about those things that I'm going to be applying to my real estate stuff, but it is, I don't want to say a different identity because they're both me, but they're 2 different sides of the same coin.
Yeah. What I'll be curious about is over time, how you find the connectivity, because I bet you will.
Well, and it'll be sharing things from both business pages to my personal page.
Sure.
That'll be where
There
it
you go.
happens.
That's one of the great ways. These are my 2 things that I bring to the table. And yeah, it's good. Investments and value in things, helping people to see how to build wealth. There's a connectivity there too. Okay, social media strategies. Connect with people you know or who have met in one way, shape, or form. If you're networking in the communities, going to coffees, and they're so easy to get a hold of. Is everybody networking? No? I've got a couple yeses, couple, we know he's not.
No, but it's again, a common talking point in our house, like what kind of things could we do to try and draw people? I feel like everybody's so stuck in their houses still
Yeah.
because everyone got really comfortable with this notion of like, oh, it's COVID life, we just stay home 80% of the time.
Right,
I remember
Right.
chapters of my life where I was lucky to spend 6 hours a day at my house, and now I'm lucky to leave my house for 6 hours a week,
right.
you know?
Yeah, I work at home sometimes, so I totally get that. Okay, so let's talk about networking just a little bit, then we'll move on. So as an introvert, it took me a little hot minute, and I still struggle with it a little bit, but networking groups can be a great resource for you to meet people in your community, to build relationships even with other professionals who are in the industry. And these are people-
Existing groups, or you're just talking about starting?
Existing groups. Existing groups. Now, I have my own networking group, but I have my own networking group as a result of attending other groups. Meetup.com. Have you ever been on meetup.com? Have you guys heard of meetup.com? Does does it still exist? I feel like I've seen myself a little bit. Meetup.com was developed with community in mind. You can identify interests. Cool. There's everything from political interests to creativity interests, animal interests to business interests. And it is literally a platform for meeting people. It's free. So most of the events that are on there are free. There are many things that are not free. Get into meetup.com and use that. You don't hear about it as often because we have Facebook now. Meetup came out probably around the same time Facebook got started, like really rolling. So it's really old, but it has been a valuable platform for launching community and connecting with people in that way. Now Facebook and Instagram and all these other wonderful platforms are now also great places to do that. So you get on Facebook and you do a search, business networking. You'll be amazed what you can find in your area of where people are getting together and it's open to the public. Show up, business cards in hand, or flyers or local stats or whatever, your bio, whatever. Plant seeds with your business card on the back, whatever, whatever you want to take. And you talk for 2 minutes about yourself, or you say, hello, this is me, this is what I do, and you sit it back down. Or it's a mixer where you're talking to multiple people all at once, or sometimes people are teaching a topic and you get to go and learn. There's just so many different opportunities that are involved in showing up to a community like that.
Somebody knocking at the door, we weren't letting them in.
Yeah. They're like, hello, I'm taking this class. Okay, sorry. Connectivity. Networking is connectivity. Networking looks like many different things. You can go to a very official, rigid, rules-based networking group where they do something specific every single time they meet. There are BNI groups where you're required to refer people. You have to figure out what's right for you. Some of those groups are free and some of them are pay-based. I am such a weird person. I don't get comfortably into some of those boxes. So I built my own. Do it myself and see who shows up. And you'll be amazed. Facebook creates people to come to your groups, which is cool. So that's one way. Connecting with who you know then ends up on social media. Because guess what? You show up in meetup.com and you show up in Facebook networking group and you show up in person. Then the next thing you're doing is handing somebody your business card. What's on your business card? Social media tags, your social media URLs, how to get a hold of you on social media, right? Let's connect. I always say, friend me. And they go, how do I find you? My name, first and last, you'll find me, I promise. How's about your neighborhood? You know, there's a safety factor on social media that people don't talk about a lot. Don't give people copies of your license plate, your address, any sort of personal finance information, anything that can be used against you. Okay? Be careful about releasing those things because most of it can feel very comfortable very quickly, and that you can dig a hole because you never know who's stalking you, right? Be mindful about what's in those images that you're releasing that's personal. But at the same time, can you walk the neighborhood and say, this is a community that I spend a lot of time in, or I live here if it's a community that's more than 200 homes, you know? And look at all the assets of this community. This is what we're doing, movie in the park here, this is what we're doing, barbecue. This is our pool. If you're farming that neighborhood, that might work for you. Don't give out your address. Use images. There's images and now live videos that they gather the most attention. Congratulate new homeowners, pay attention to what other people are doing and engage on their posts, specific if they're relevant to what you're trying to do. Post about your listings. I drive people crazy with my listings because I have these two that are sitting and they've seen the same houses 300 times. I'm trying to come up with creative ways to share it, but do post about your listing. And engage with people, just respond. It's just a conversation. Kind of like your business. Think about hyper-local information, utilize tech developments, and post client testimonials. So I have a business page. If I write a blog post on my website, I might take that URL and post it on my Facebook page. And I might take the image and post it in Instagram with a link in the comments, right, back to my website, or, you know, refer people to my profile on Instagram. Share those things.
Dog. It's like, what's your favorite animal?
Say that again, Augustine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I
That's
did not
okay.
mean to say that out loud. I thought I was muted.
That's okay. I was gonna tell you though, cats are my favorite animal. I was gonna engage in that. Okay. Post client testimonials. So if you have a closing, you have to go through the process of asking for these. It's not always comfortable, but I always let them know this makes such a huge difference in my business and how people see my business before they know me. So if they just leave a few words for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And then I do a screenshot of the testimonial and I save it in that client's file. You can take this language in Command and make something really pretty and use that as a social post. You can add it to your newsletters. You can post it on social media page. When it happens, I would say, this just in, or I tell a little bit of story about what we had to overcome to get to the point of a closing of this, and this is the result. And so happy clients are good posts, pillars for your business to stand on, right? So make sure you're sharing that you have happy clients. Don't post and ghost. Which really literally means don't just post about yourself and get off. Or here's the other thing that we see a lot and would be easy to do, but does not create successful businesses. Hiring somebody else to do your social media for you. Why? Why? Why is that not a good thing?
It's not authentic. It's not you. No
It's
one can
not
replace
you.
who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that because your vibe attracts your tribe, not somebody else's vibe.
So I think there's I'm entertaining this right now, so since we're talking about it, I'd like to bring it up. We just had a boot camp, social media boot camp a couple weeks ago here. And
For the company that does social media for you.
yep,
Okay.
I think that the kind of content they would put up is not the kind of shit I would spend the time putting up, but it's valuable. So as long as you're balancing, and my look at things right now is I'm considering hiring this company. It's $10 a day. They will post across all your social media and your website and your blog.
Yeah.
If you kick your heels up and say, that's all I'm doing, it's a waste of money because there's nothing personal there.
Yes.
But it would allow you to have 100% of your time put into social media, be very personal, very, open to whoever, stuff about me, recipes, me cooking in the kitchen, not just a recipe I'm sharing.
Can I
Or-
share something with you?
I would love it, yeah.
So First Integrity Title Company has an app.
Okay.
And it's branded to you.
Yep.
They build content every month that's relevant for holidays or current news topics.
Yep.
And it is, I want to say $60 a year.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So those are the kind of options. Again, when you're new to this, there's so much fire hose of money wasting opportunities out there,
Sure there are. Yeah.
So the reality is, just trying to balance and filter out what are the opportunities in there that make sense and what are the ones that don't. Because that guy sold me on what he has to offer.
Absolutely. And you know what, for some people, it can be relevant and valuable, right? Social media person in me says no.
I agree 100% that your social media presence needs to represent you.
It has to represent you energetically. How do you talk?
100%. I
Where are
agree.
you spending your time?
I agree with that.
Yeah,
But I also think like, if you really know me, I'm not gonna dig in and create graphics with market statistics and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, you don't have to.
Because for $10 a day to have someone else do all that kind of stuff for you, to me, it makes a lot of sense. Just because I can't sit still at a computer long enough to learn how to create those graphics.
Sure, so I hope I saved you some money by
Oh, yeah.
giving you a different tool.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, right?
That's okay.
Everybody's different.
What's that?
$10 a day is a lot.
A lot.
Nick, I'm gonna just send you like $100 Starbucks gift card so you can sit on your behind for 4 hours every day and learn social media. I feel like that's a really good trade-off,
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting because that whole class happened because someone in our office uses that service.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about it personally,
I mean,
because-
play with it. If you think that it would bring value to you, what's the harm in trying?
Right.
So long as you don't go broke trying something that doesn't
I'm way
give you
into
a
that.
reason to not learn.
Nobody likes to go broke, but I value my time so much that $10 a day to me is like, I charge $500 an hour when I give anyone my time.
So do me a favor and look at the First Integrity app first.
Yeah, First Integrity. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm gonna default to my rule, if you don't need to spend an arm and a leg to start this. We've already spent an arm and a leg to start this.
First Integrity is a title company.
It is a type.
Any First Integrity app,
Yeah, it's First Integrity title, and then it should pull up in, I think it was Apple.
First Integrity Agent 1.
Hey, thank you.
First Integrity. Is it
I wish you
listed?
could see me point at you every time you talk. First
First
Integrity.
Integrity Agent, one word, like one entire word, First Integrity Agent, and then space and spell out the number 1.
Yeah, First Integrity is all one word. Okay, I have it pulled up on my phone. So yes, I use that.
and it posts to your social media, is that what you said?
You can make it post to your social
Oh,
media. Yeah. Yeah,
Cause I'm just looking for a way to help expedite, cause again, I feel like I want my personal web presence to be impressive. But I don't know that I can commit to the amount of time it's gonna take. I would like it to be impressive tomorrow, not
Okay.
a year from now.
but here's what I hear you doing. Ideal, right? My vision of where it's going to be.
Yep.
And then are you setting your expectations for yourself here? Or are you saying, over time, I recognize that if I'm consistent and persistent, and I use the tools that have been given to me, I will be here. But I have to start here.
Right.
And everybody, even Zach, had to start here. And then you add one tool. So I started to say this when I used to coach the coaches. It was, you have to start in one piece and don't take on another thing until you master that piece.
Right.
With social media, you only need one piece.
Right.
You don't need it all. find the one that you're gonna spend your time on. Ricky says all the time, the tool that works is a tool you will use. And so if it's Facebook, television. Right? And just that one piece, then set a goal. How many times should you post something that is numbers? If you're following the 80-20 rule, maybe it's 1 time a week.
Right.
First Integrity already did that for you.
Right.
It's personalized, $60 a year or $65 or something like that. Upload it to your Facebook profile. You just have to take a minute and connect it. Zach will show you how to connect, right, Zach? Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, so, okay, so that's the last thing around social media is you're gonna bring value, or why are people gonna follow you? Sometimes that value is in getting to know who you are and what you do every day, and sometimes the value is numbers. Right, a lot of people, remember that people are on there to hang out with people without having to hang out with people. They're on there to be inspired. They're on there to learn. They're on there to connect. So don't just do numbers. That's where I go with that. Activity, post on social media. Hold on a second. So if I'm not reading the directions as I'm going, this to me is an action point. If you were to post something on social media right now relevant to your real estate business, what would you post? I'm gonna give you 2 minutes and I'm gonna ask you to post something. Anything. Relevant to real estate.
I just wanted to say something really quick. I feel like maybe this is silly to say, but I feel like learning social media is a walk in the park versus teaching your mother or father how to like use a smartphone. Like that's a train wreck. And then learning social media is, in my opinion, far easier than that.
Thanks for the comparison. I didn't.
As for the representative of the boomer generation, I would 100% agree with that.
Now, once you've posted,
Why do we just get treated like-
see if you can tag me or find me. Who's on social media? At Tammy Horner, HOERNER.
You're actually wanting us to make a post right now?
Yeah, I'm serious, no joke.
I don't have social media for my real estate world.
Okay, I'm sitting in a class learning about real estate right now.
I love learning about real estate with
Learning about
Tammy
real
Horner,
estate.
a big heart.
At Tammy Horner. And now don't forget the heart.
Just
Take you
get-
2
just
minutes.
Supposed to give them a heart beating.
Come on.
I love being learning based. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, at Tammy Horner.
I love being learning based. You don't even have to mention real estate. I prefer if you did.
I don't think that you can post about real estate without mentioning real estate.
Sure you can.
It's awesome. You do it all the time,
I
all the time.
do it.
Let's have migrated. Just fly
I
top
love
for 2
it.
days.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna disappear for 5 days. Damn it. Okay. More strategies for social media. I have 20 minutes, you guys, so we're gonna come through this a little bit.
What's that you?
TAMMI. I know. How do I?
I think I'm gonna add to your post.
Oh, there we go. Try to get that.
No,
You can just do an at.
TAMMY. It's funny, I get Horner correct all the time. and
I know,
spell
right? That's
Tammy.
the hard part. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put you there. I'm gonna tag you somehow.
Cool. I wrote my name up there if you guys want to find me later. you can do it.
While you're on there, send her a friend request. It's way easier.
Yeah, it's probably why I'm not pulling it up because
Yep.
I could have thought that.
I also have a business page
Yeah.
and it should, if you put at and then put my name in there, it should pull it up, but it's okay. We'll figure that out later. So some more strategies around social media. Be authentic. We talked about this. Don't be a jack of all trades. There's something that's really interesting that happens. And because I'm a Gemini, I really suck at this game too. Focus. Be clear, consistent.
Are you on Instagram?
Excuse me?
Instagram?
Are you
Are
on?
you
Instagram?
on-
Oh, yes, I'm on Instagram. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Yeah.
Which one's you?
There should only be one me.
I am the only.
I have. Yeah, those are both me. This is my business page. You can connect with me there. That's what I post on. Yep, thank you. Embrace video. Oh, let's talk about the jack of all trades. See there, my brain went. So when we are building a platform that shows us as an example of a master of something, you don't want to spend 80% of your time broken down into 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 of all the different things that you are a master of, right? Allow one thing to stand out and be most consistent. Show the other things that you like to do, but remember that there's the one thing you are trying to be the professional at. Embrace video. This is really something I have a suggestion for a class you are gonna love. If you want to build a YouTube channel, her name is Chris Carr. No. I forgot her name all of a sudden. She teaches YouTube for agents. If you look up YouTube for agents, you'll find the class. And she teaches you how to do all the technology and all of how to actually set up your videos and how to successfully have a tribe and how to manage the algorithms and all the ins and outs of YouTube. Video looks like many things. BombBomb. Have you guys done BombBomb yet? Little clips. They're like tiny little 1 minute, 2 minute videos, maybe 5 minute videos at the most. You can attach them to newsletters. You can attach them to social media. You can attach them in emails. BombBomb is a great source. It is a paid platform. You can do the same thing in Reels on.
Boomerang.
I don't know what Boomerang is. I've heard of it, but
That's another little like short video thingy.
yeah. Oh, in Instagram,
Yeah,
right? And that's.
but it's another like separate, I think
Yeah.
it might be paid, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. But video, they're showing now that videos are watched more than anything else. So they're saying create a reel, even if it's of a stagnant photo, right? You just like make something, add music, you know, stare at your dog for a minute, it's okay. Or watch it. Use analytics to optimize your posts. This is how I know my post is doing good. That's all behind the scenes kind of stuff. Ask for help. If you need help around analytics, I am not the master of analytics. Okay, so recap. 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 share, 1 friend, and 1 direct message. Right? Remember to be real, don't post and ghost, highlight your business, add value. Anybody have other strategies you can think of around Instagram or Facebook? Are there other platforms?
I do a lot of live videos on Facebook. So anytime I'm doing something like I'm doing my open house, when I went to my final walkthrough day. Hey, I'm doing my final walkthrough. What is a final walkthrough? Well, it's
I love that you're doing that. What kind
Video.
of engagement? Yeah, what kind of engagement are you getting from that?
I mean, most of the time it's just like my close friends and family that are commenting on it, but
Sure you are.
cheer me on, exactly, being my cheerleaders. But I guess that, again, that algorithm is pushing me out there. The more that they like it and comment on it, it's out there. So
That's awesome. Exactly. That's start with your immediate, yeah, that's awesome. Are you doing video?
Yes, most of the video I did is sort of what you did, but I didn't do it live. I would, as I was walking, especially this summer, I haven't done as much recently because I've just been 2 weeks ago. You know, but what I would be doing is talking about how many homes I knocked and talking about who I met, just different conversations. I would just post that.
That's perfect.
And I would talk about how many doors I knocked, and that was, you know, trying to, you know, let people know. And I kind of, in a way, struggled with that, because it's like when you do that, your opponent is also watching that too, if they're smart. And I'm like, do I really? And I come from a coaching background and military background. Do I really want them to know that I'm out knocking that many doors?
Right.
You know,
Am
but
I
I was
giving
like,
them
you know,
the-
ultimately it was just like I was just doing it just to get it out there, let people
Yeah.
know, hey, I'm doing my work. And because you know, a part of this is donation and fundraising, and you want people to know that you're doing your part, because no one wants to donate to a candidate who isn't doing their job.
Yes, who's engaging,
So
right?
that's what I ultimately decide.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, a lot like what you said with the open house.
Yeah, and that's all it is letting people see you doing real estate stuff. So
Yeah,
they start to think
exactly.
of Lisa Love, they think real estate.
That's real estate, yeah, totally.
That's right, yeah. I think it's so interesting, lives can be anything, video can be anything. As long as they're getting an opportunity to know you better. Yeah, I've done lives and always something goes weird.
Yeah.
The house that I have listed, the lower level is blocked against EMFs. So I did this open house live tour. And I'm walking through, I just ramble, top level, and then I lost my connection. Then I go down to the main, I'm like, that's okay, it's a perfect segue, I'll just start a new video on the next level. So I walk through and I'm talking, and lost my connection. And I go down to the lower level and I cannot get back on the internet. And I was like, I don't know what the heck, it's blocked, it has a paint that blocks the Wi-Fi signal. That's weird,
Interesting.
just like.
Didn't know that was such a thing.
Yeah, oh, it's actually really interesting. So this is such a cool quote. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. If we always come to the table, not looking to receive, but instead offering to give, that dynamic of how they perceive you shifts. You have something for them that they want, and they want to continue to spend that time and space with you. So for instance, whether it's on social media or in person, when I'm with people, I hold space. It's something I do innately, I don't consciously do it. But I can sit with somebody for 15 minutes and know their entire life story without saying anything or asking questions. And that is an asset in this industry because people organically trust me, they can't help it. If I come in thinking, I really need this closing. I really need this client. And I start developing that lack energy is what I would call it. And I'm sitting with that person, I've done it, I'm sitting with that person, they feel it, they can smell it. And their senses are on two pens and they don't have the same experience. So if I can just come in and go, gosh, I really hope, I think Tony Robbins talked about this, I command my mind. I command my body, I command myself to come up with what I need to say that's perfect in this moment. And you're focused on delivering, providing, offering. So I have a different approach, it's just, I really hope that I have the answers that this person's seeking. I hope that I can bring value. I've done my homework, I've got all my tools, and I just want to show them that I'm here to support them in being successful. That's all I come with. Detached from the outcome. And there's this sense of they don't feel like I'm there to take them for a ride. There's a sense of camaraderie, understanding, and compassion. Gosh, you're about to take on something really hard. You're moving across country. That is, I just can't imagine that right now. Wow. And not, can I get this listing? Here, quick, sign my contract, right? It changes that engagement completely. They're happy to be in a relationship with me.
Well, let me tag you.
Are you using the @ sign?
I did the same thing, I couldn't find you.
Maybe we're not friends and that's why, but I feel like
Maybe.
I feel like that, but it's in groups. I'm able to tag people that I'm in groups with, even though we're not friends.
Right, yeah, we're all in the Kennedy group, right?
But it should let you tag my business, so that's something that's interesting.
At Tammy.
Yeah, I mean, you can look me up, do a
I didn't
search,
spell it right. I missed an E.
Oh, that's
Okay.
but you can also do a search and through the search, find my name and then friend me, and then you can tag me. Okay, so we're gonna run through this fairly quickly, so I'm not gonna have as much conversation time, but this is really about other ways of generating leads. We're gonna talk about generating your leads, growing your database, capturing the leads with, we did talk, I'm sorry, we're capturing our leads. That's the last one, that's what we're doing. Okay. My brain goes in a frenzy, oh my gosh, I'm talking really fast. Let's get to the nitty gritty, should we?
I have one
Please?
other friend, Tammy, who keeps popping up. I can't friend her. I'm gonna lose my post if I friend request you first.
Tammy, how do you spell your name? I can't see that.
This is super interesting for me. I'm like, nobody can find me. And I'm actually really on social media. TAMMIHOERNER.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Cool. So our number one job as real estate agent is to find ways to get in the paths. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get in the way of a buyer or seller. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. We've talked about so many, and there are so many more.
I think I found you.
When we're thinking about this, we're gonna break it down into two. Message and method. The two MS of lead generation. Message and method. Watch your market. This is interesting. Your message or your method. I actually have to look up what direction they're going here. There's two primary methods of getting your message out to your target group. That's going in a different direction individually. Prospecting and marketing. Okay, we covered both today. We've covered both prospecting and marketing. This one's going to cover additional prospecting methods. Two of the same slides back to that. So there are leads absolutely everywhere you go. And there's always an opportunity. If you're always in this mindset that you're on the hunt for leads, you're gonna find those opportunities. You might be at a coffee shop or a grocery store or on social media. If you might hear somebody overhear somebody talking about buying or selling a home, right? You might see somebody post about buying or selling a home. They have provided conversation starters in your workbooks. If you overhear someone talking about an open house, what is one way you can approach them? What's a way to initiate that conversation?
Like I'm at the grocery store and I hear somebody talking about going to an open house or.
Yeah. Just being honest, I overheard you talking about this. Are you looking for a home in the area right now? You know, just simple. Second, connect with the individuals in a way that builds rapport and trust. So I'm a realtor. I happen to be working in the area. I would love to send you some information about what's happening in the area right now. And I can send you a list of all the homes that are for sale in that price point of that same house that you're going to look at. Would you like that? Right? Helps set you apart as the expert. They say, I have a list of all the homes for sale in the area. I'd love to connect with you so you can stay informed. So you're not just saying, I'd love to connect with you so that, you know, I can keep sending you stuff, but actually tell them the value that you're going to bring to them. Have any of you run into people who've been talking about real estate lately?
So it's funny, I was actually wondering if I would have a chance to mention this yesterday. I went to Target because my son needed socks. So I go to Target, just have my socks, and I made the conscious decision I'm going to go through the checkout line versus doing self-checkout like I always do. And I wore my KW badge because that's what I do when I go in public, as long as I'm not like, looking a hot mess. And of course, she said, where do you work? Oh, Keller Williams. And she's like, oh, the home builder, which I thought was really funny because I'm like, doesn't everybody know KW? I was like, no, I'm a real estate agent. And so of course, the first thing she says, how's that going? Has it been, you know, how's the year been for you? So, you know,
That's awesome.
organically had a conversation, but I was like, I need to mention this, like, if you guys are out and about, choose the line that gives you an opportunity. Maybe she didn't say anything to me, but I at least gave myself the opportunity
Right.
versus going through the self-checkout where it's me and a camera.
Right, I love that, like, choose the line that gives you an opportunity, because it's not just the market center, right?
Yeah.
It's at the fair, it's at the expo, or it's at the gas station.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's awesome.
She probably thought KB Helms.
Yeah, maybe.
KB,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably true.
The K.
Yeah,
It's the K. Ah, you're a home builder.
Yeah, if you're not like in the market right now, like, well, she's not paying attention,
No.
right?
What's the difference between prospecting and marketing? Do you all know that? We've been talking about that, right?
I think we talked about this the other day, like active versus more passive.
Yeah, exactly. So prospecting is more active, engaging, marketing is more passive. Yeah, your flyers and your posts and things like that. Lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. What are some of the simple rules about lead generation?
Ask open-ended questions,
Sure. Yeah.
forward
Find
questions.
what works and do it over and over and over and over.
Consistency.
Yeah. Consistency, repetition. Yeah. What else? What are some of the contact? What are some of the simple rules around this?
Be authentic.
It's just about showing up consistently, persistently, be you and engage, right? This is something that's interesting, and this is one of the things that I'm building my business on, is that it can take 7 to 10 years between the time a person buys a home to the point where they're ready to sell it again, right? And then there's all of this distance in between. And you can meet them anywhere along the line. You might have helped them buy the house, right? Or you might have helped them sell the house and then move, right? If you were to stay in touch with them from here, and this is what you were gonna do for your career, do you think it would matter? Yes, okay. Do you think it would matter if you stayed in touch with them from here to here in your career? Is it important to stay in touch with somebody after they bought their home? Of course. If you've caught them here and it's 5 years before they buy or sell, would that make an impact in your career over time? Okay, so my business is built on relationships. Good relationships, trusting relationships, honest relationships, so that when they get from here to here, who are they gonna call? So then the way for them to remember me between here and here is what?
You're prospecting.
You're prospecting, you're staying in touch with them.
Yeah.
And you're maintaining that relationship. This is really important. How do you maintain that relationship? Social media. Phone calls.
Smart things.
Smart plans. Events at KW, Trick or Treat Street, right?
That's where I posted that.
Hop by and drop them off a pumpkin. Right? So if you can do that consistently and persistently, this is how you build your pipeline. Right? My buyers become sellers. My sellers become buyers. Sometimes even my sellers who are relocating may come back and become a buyer again. Right? It's not impossible.
You see if you got a notification, because there was more than one Tammy Wonder that popped up.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Nick Connolly tagged you in a post.
There you go. All right.
Thank you.
I did my homework. I understood
Thank
the
you,
assignment.
you did. Boom. Prospecting, different ways of prospecting, phone or face-to-face, listings without agency, which please ask. You'll really get in trouble if you cross this line. Somebody's gonna be pissed at you if you are marketing to their client. Don't do it. Guess what? FSBOs for sale by owners, expired listings. Circle prospecting, do you know what circle prospecting is?
No, and I keep hearing that term. What is it?
So the whole door knocking 10 this way, 10 that way, and across the street, it is a form of circle prospecting. It's actually taking your open house, drawing a geographical circle around it, and then working with the title company to get the contact information for the people who fall in that circle. Great to do for an open house, great to do for a listing, great to do when your buyer buys a house and closes.
Do we have title reps here that are familiar with our office that aren't gonna be annoyed that us rookies are calling and asking them all kinds of questions?
A title rep will never be annoyed to your face that you're asking all those questions, right?
Cause I feel like there's all like how much are they willing to do? A 100-foot radius or a 1 mile radius?
Right, I mean, they're willing to do whatever you ask for.
Right.
I would say 100, I always do 100.
And
When
they're-
you circle prospect, how many do you get?
It depends on where the house is, but anywhere from 40 to 100. I'll call her and be like, hey, or I'll actually send her an email.
40 to 100
It
houses
says,
or
it
40?
says I want the 100 closest address to this house.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and you don't have to door knock.
And you pay them for that?
$5 for mine.
The title company, yeah. And, but what's the thing where you get the phone numbers? What's that called? Vulcan.
Yeah.
So, Angela used to do that for me. So on Vulcan, it's a pay
Lynn
service.
can do it too.
Then you get phone numbers and you can call these people and say, hey, I'm having this open house, or hey, I have this new listing, or hey, I got a buyer who's looking in the area.
If you want to do it an easier way, you just record a message to say I'm doing an open house at this address on Saturday 10/2. Come on in, love to see you and meet you. And then you can send it out and it shows up in their voicemail.
Without having to call.
In Vulcan.
I don't know if Vulcan does it. I have to do the research since you did it. I did it once. I'll have to go back and see if Vulcan does it. You can get a ton of information from Gwen about that because she uses Vulcan, right?
I think she does,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's.
I mean, it's interesting because if you do 100 houses, I mean, the stats that I've read about, you can hope for up to 3%, but more likely it'll be 1% of reach outs will result in a viable lead.
Yes.
But if you're doing 100 houses closest and you could spend $5 shooting that message out to a bunch of people or whatever it is, then it's kind of like if you got one viable lead, as long as you're doing your job right, you're following that up. That's a really cheap lead source.
Yeah, as long as you're following it up, you said the magic word.
That's-
And
Just follow it up.
don't wear too much cologne and dress decent for your open house and
All
like
those
all the
things.
things that, right?
Yeah, and cook cookies.
Cook cookies.
Okay, so that's circle prospecting. This is the idea that circle prospecting works under, and I'm just gonna wrap this up in the next 3 minutes so you guys can get out of here. Community outreach, charity, and volunteer work, okay? That's ways of connecting and building relationships. Key relationships. Who are you in business with? Who have you worked for before? Who does your partner work with? Like, they should know about what you do. Teaching and speaking opportunities. Buyers 101, buying homes 101, selling homes 101. I did a online Zoom. It doesn't have to be in person. But I did an online Zoom, like selling a house in 2020. And I did it with some partners, some professional partners, staging and lending. Right? Meals. Invite people to lunch, invite people to coffee, door-to-door canvassing. We've talked about that quite a bit. Networking events, we talked about that in detail. Booths and kiosks, this is on my wish list of things to do. We have farmers markets and craft fairs, and we're going straight on into booth and kiosk season. So if you can find yourself at a local school fair, function, event somewhere, that's a great place to meet people, shake hands, and walk-ins. My goodness, there's more prospecting, right? There's a lot more to do, offline, online, and you guys probably have all this in your guides, right? Radio is still rocking. We all know Gail. 850 KOA has Gail from KW in DTC.
I think she's actually in Arvada. She might be in DTC though. I'm
Okay,
not sure.
but man, she rules 850 KOA every 5 minutes I hear her name. And if I'm gonna turn KO or K 850 off.
And I think she
that's
gets
why.
I think she gets 15 minutes a week where she just goes on the radio and talks about real estate.
It's crazy. So
She's
but good on
insane.
her. I mean, who's not gonna hire her now? You've heard that name so many times. It used to be the guy who would buy your house. No matter what, if it didn't
Yeah.
sell.
He's in
Madeline,
DTC.
He's in DTC.
Chad Madlam actually went out on his own. He owns, they just changed the name of it.
Okay, I thought it was Madeline.
It It wasn't on the real estate. It's changed, it's something different.
It's a good platform though. So don't hesitate to do things people are still doing print. You know, billboards. I know a guy who designs billboards. If you ever want to do a billboard, I will look you up. Broadcast content. What's a broadcast content? Ricky?
Podcast.
Podcast. Ricky, I'm just letting y'all know, has committed to creating.
It's sort of my wish list too. Let's get this podcasting. I think I'm really good at it.
You got the voice for it.
Thank
He
you.
does.
I did go radio broadcasting school like 15 years ago. I got my little certificate.
Did not know that. See, now we're gonna have the Ricky Radio Show.
Keep the realtors radio real estate. review.
Oh my God.
I love alliteration and R is easy.
Only if you say it every time Rob lies.
That's it, yeah.
Not, you can't record that
I'll
crap.
practice that.
Oh
I'll have
my
to practice that script practice.
Holy cow.
One of your
his
5
daughter is
jobs.
so his mini.
A lot of
His
select
daughter
directors,
is mini.
He's got like 7 of them or something. There's always a.
you can do postcards through title, special events cards.
So you guys, you mailers is one thing you do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I do mailers on all my listings. And I sometimes do them on my buys.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on how nice the buy was.
How much, I mean, how do you target, I guess it's a different conversation, but I mean, you know, I'd be curious, you know, in terms of how you target, who you send mailers to, what the
Yeah, what do
costs
you-
are, all that type of stuff.
So when I do a list, so I work with First Integrity Title.
Yeah.
And the gal that I work with there is Becca. And she's amazing. She works with me personally to identify a marketing strategy. Now it's almost automated. You know, I tell her, I just listed this house. Can you guys do postcards? Yep. A week later, they're out.
1 of 2 different ways you can look at that. You can just pick the 100 or 50 or however many you're gonna do closest homes to the address.
Yeah.
What I like to do when I do that is, hey, give me the 50 closest addresses that have owned their home at least 8 years.
Yeah, and she's getting
Because if
more
I mail it to
strategic.
the person that just bought the house a year ago,
Right.
It's going straight to
She
recycling.
also-
right, but if you get the, what's that?
Or non-owner occupied.
You can do non-owner occupies. The catch with that is if this is for it, if this is just for the listing, yes. If it's for an open house, no.
I better do a hard stop already at 11:36. The
Yeah,
last one.
I gotta be in Smedra in 25 minutes.
I know.
Are
hard.
you going to that?
No, I'm not going to that. I need to go home and sick cup. But, yeah, so you guys, thank you so much. You have this list in your materials, so please look it over. Use it as a checklist until you find out which ways give you the greatest return on your investment, whether it's open houses or social media or whatever platform you're using. Filter it down and create a checklist and repeat.
When you say in our material,
Yeah, it's on through your Google Drive.
resources,
Yep, resources, 2022 Ignite.
Did we set our next check?
So it's Drive, Resources, Ignite,
got it,
2022.
You should.
right,
See what
because
I
it's
see?
totally different than the Ignite, I
the
printed everything out last
format.
time, right now my entire dining room table is all the Ignite shit I printed out last
From
time,
last time.
and it's totally
It's
different.
different. Yeah, they just changed it in, well, and I taught in the spring and it's different.
I think mine is from a year ago right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when you started.
Yeah.
I think we attended some of those together because I wanted to go back to Ignite.
So are you officially finished, ma'am?
Yes, you guys can go.
Cool. This is a copy of the coaching contract. Should you choose to join the coaching program, which I sincerely highly advise to hire Gwen and I to be your coach. So this is the addendum that lays out almost everything. The one thing that it doesn't have, which we will have by next week, is the expectations. We have an 8-page list of expectations so that we're clear on what we expect from you and as clear as we can be on what you should be expecting from us, which is even more important.
And this is new, right? You guys are, this is relatively.
We rolled it out officially yesterday morning. And that was